As the sun rises on America's Dairyland, a fantastic matchup is in store. The 2-1 Wisconsin Badgers are visited by a herd of Terrapins coming from the East Coast and in with an undefeated 3-0 record, looking to prove that they are indeed for real. Live from beautiful Camp Randall Stadium, it's WMUC Sports and it's Maryland football against the Wisconsin Badgers. Welcome in to the state of Wisconsin here as we have a beautiful day for football. Daniel Stein joined alongside Ryan Martin for what should be a fascinating matchup. On one side, you have Malik Washington and the young Maryland Terrapins. The true freshman has been preparing diligently for this huge game in a big atmosphere. On the other side, for Wisconsin, you have a quarterback in Billy Edwards who just 365 days ago was wearing the red, but for the Terps.
It is a battle of the past and the present, Daniel, and we've made it to Madison. This big one is here. It's the 2025 Big Ten opener, and as you mentioned, it was Billy Edwards Jr. hurt in that Week 1 game for the Badgers, so he leaves that Miami of Ohio season opener. We don't see him at all in those two most recent games against Middle Tennessee and against Alabama. And all of a sudden, you knew if Billy Edwards Jr. had a chance to play his in-conference former team, the Maryland Terrapins, it's the Virginia native who would do it. Luke Fickell with Wisconsin gives him the head nod and says, you know what, Billy, you're ready to go. He's now matching up against the present with Maryland, true freshman sensation, Malik Washington. Daniel, the conversation all week has been Washington has excelled, but he's excelled against FAU, against Northern Illinois, and Towson. What does a Big Ten opponent on the road at Camp Randall have in store for Malik Washington? His biggest test of the season is about 15 minutes away.
It's certainly a big game, and Mike Loxley understood that. He was talking about how they were preparing Malik in particular for this one. But aside from Malik, you have the freshman quarterback. You also have a Maryland offense that's pretty inexperienced. You have Shalik Knotts, who's a senior, who's emerged as the #1 receiver. This is really his first year leading the group. You have a couple of transfers. Caleb Webb, a guy who didn't really play that much at Tennessee. Jalil Farouk, someone who missed time with injuries. And then on the defense, you have a couple of stud pass rushers that are starting to get their first taste of Big Ten football here. What are you looking at for the defense today?
Yeah, Daniel, this is one of those games where the storylines are just never ending between these two teams, right? You talk about the defense for Maryland, some of the young pass rushers, particularly in Zahir Mathis and Sidney Stewart. Those guys have really been leading the pack so far for Maryland, both doing it impressively as true freshmen. So this is a Wisconsin team that just got battered and bruised by Alabama, right? That's a ranked Crimson Tide team that really gave it to Wisconsin in Tuscaloosa a week ago. So Wisconsin fans are looking to see the Badgers bounce back, maybe see this as an easier opponent with Wisconsin favored by about 10 points in this game. But Daniel, one thing I'm really looking at is this is a Wisconsin offensive line that has not been good to start this season. That running game hasn't been able to get going against Dylan Jones. We'll talk about the Good Counsel graduate and Laurel, Maryland native. He's the starting running back for Wisconsin. But for Wisconsin, it's all about protecting the pass and getting that run game going. Or can Maryland's young studs really shine in their first Big Ten game?
Now let's talk about that Wisconsin offensive line, because it's a real tale of two halves. You have Riley Mahlman and Joe Brunner, two graduate students and redshirt juniors respectively on the offensive line. That's not really the problem. The left end has not been the issue. It's been the right side. Colin Coverly, Emerson Mandel, two redshirt freshmen, but they meet almost an equally inexperienced duo in Zahir Mathis and Sidney Stewart. But Stewart, 5.5 tackles for loss on the young season, not only leads the Big Ten, top 10 nationally as well. So this is a Maryland team that has talent on that defensive line, but it comes down to experience at the end of the day.
It's all about understanding what a Big Ten opponent's going to throw at you. I think we've seen that from offensively and defensively. You look at this Maryland offensive line that looks so improved from a year ago, where Billy Edwards was the one getting beat up because Maryland's offensive line couldn't protect him. So Maryland went to the portal, made a couple good additions on the offensive line. You look at a guy like left tackle Randall Perry, which I think was really symbolic of both the offense and defense, Daniel. Perry is the highest graded pass blocker by Pro Football Focus, but he's never blocked against a Power 4 opponent. So he was saying today to us before the game this week back in Maryland, he's just excited to see where he stacks up against the defense like Christian Allegro, that linebacker from Wisconsin, what the Badgers have. Again, this is a Badgers team that just played a top SEC team in Alabama, now want revenge back at home.
And if there's anything that this part of the country is known for, Big Ten football, it's trenches. Randall Perry, of course, one of the many players to watch, one of the all-NEC first-team nominees last season for Central Connecticut State. But it's a good point to be made that this is his first Big Ten competition as it is for many of this Maryland team. Maryland, of course, undefeated. They won versus FAU, squeaked out a win at home versus NIU, and then really laid the wood against Towson. But when you look at this Wisconsin game, what are some things that the Maryland offense needs to do to be successful?
So we talked about it a lot going into this week. I'm wondering if Maryland can force itself to be multidimensional, right? That's a running game for the Terps that looked good against Towson, putting up 152 rushing yards. But that's a Tigers team that just wasn't that great with the run defense. So the question is, can you force Malik Washington to have a running game around him? We saw Washington scramble for a 2-yard touchdown against Towson last week as the Badgers take the field here at Camp Randall Stadium. I think Wisconsin knows that Maryland wants to throw the football. Malik Washington has had 3 starts so far. 2 of them, he's already had 35 or more passing attempts. So Pep Hamilton, the new offensive coordinator for Maryland, knows they want to utilize Washington a ton in the passing game. I want to see if Maryland can develop that running game, maybe put Wisconsin on its toes a little bit more than the Badgers are expecting.
It's such an interesting dichotomy with this Maryland offense because you have a really talented running back room with Nolan Ray, DeJuan Williams, Iverson Howard getting some carries in there as well. But you also have Malik Washington, this freshman quarterback, and yet this Terps team is way better at throwing the ball than they are running the ball. They average 116 rush yards a game, which is last in the Big Ten. This is a conference that is prided on running the ball, and the Terps just haven't really been able to do it so far. But again, it's the Big Ten conference now. Big Ten play starting, so it's just a whole new slate for the Terps.
Big Ten football means running and running downhill hard. And that's what Mike Locksley talked about this week during his media availability, was this Wisconsin team might not have that same culture and still trying to find itself in the 3rd year under Luke Fickell, but historically, this Badgers program has been ground and pound. You talk about Jonathan Taylor, he was a Wisconsin Badger, right? You bring it back to Melvin Gordon, or even some of the guys who torched Maryland the last time these two teams played, which was way back in 2022, a 23-10 win for the Badgers. NFL running backs and Braylon Allen, Isaac Guerrero were each scoring. So Wisconsin likes to run the ball. Maryland might need to try and match them in that too to have success here on the road.
It's interesting when you look at the 2 coaches. You have Luke Fickell, who of course took over this historic program after a really good run in Cincinnati in 2021, obviously taking them to the college football playoff. But his record a handful of seasons into his tenure is not super impressive. 15-14. Mike Locksley on the other side after 3 straight bowl game wins. Last season was a disappointment. So these are 2 coaches that, in addition to the teams itself with something to prove in the opening game of the Big Ten Conference slate, these 2 coaches, I think, have something to prove as well.
These are 2 coaches that, in one of the best conferences for football, Daniel, they've routinely been at the bottom. And they're not really expected yet for either of these programs to compete with a Penn State and Oregon and Ohio State. But they need to be competitive. And I think for Wisconsin, that schedule is so tough coming up. We'll talk about it a little bit getting into the broadcast. But this is really a tone setter for both of these teams. It's a Wisconsin team that's 4-0 all-time against Maryland, with the average margin of victory being by over 3 touchdowns. The Badgers look to continue having their way with Maryland. Meanwhile, this is a Terps team that Mike Locksley will be the first one to tell you 64 players on this Maryland roster did not play a snap for Maryland football entering this season. Still trying to find itself with the calendar still real in September.
The series history between these 2 teams is definitely fascinating as well. Wisconsin leads the way 4-0. Obviously, you mentioned that 2022 loss, but it should be a good one here. The crowd is packed here. We've seen some kind of interesting crowd sizes. That's been kind of a point of contention so far this season around the Big Ten. How much really will, people tune out for these non-conference games? But that's all behind us. The conference slate has started here, and Wisconsin will receive. Maryland won the toss. They defer, so we'll get to see Billy Edwards Jr. and the Wisconsin offense first. Should be a great one. I mean, this is just, this is our first time here at Camp Randall too. We're just trying to take in the scene as much as everyone. We're positioned around the 35-yard line, way up in probably the 8th or 7th floor of this complex. And there are fans all around us here. Camp Randall, of course, this historic stadium. You have the brick structure to our right with the big Wisconsin W. And on the other side, a large array of seating. But we are just about ready to go. Maryland will go right to left in their white jerseys, red pants, red helmets with the Terps script. Wisconsin in their red jerseys, white pants, white helmets with that crimson W on the helmet. Philip Noyes getting ready to kick away as we begin the 2025 conference slate here. 3-0 Maryland Terrapins, 2-1 Wisconsin Badgers. Who's going to win? You'll have to find out here on WMUC Sports. Should be a good one. Noyes kicks it away. It's a squib. Not an ideal start for Maryland, fielded at the 25, and it's blown dead. They might have this one be re-kicked. Ball might have come off the tee there.
First whistle on the opening kickoff of this game. It is going to be Philip Noyes who's back to try it once more. We'll keep it at the same spot. And Loxley was actually talking about Noyes in his midweek press conference. You don't get too many questions about the kickoff guy, but for Noyes, this is his first year doing this new role. To do it in a place like Camp Randall, we'll talk about the starting quarterback, the starting defensive line, but maybe the kickoff specialist has something up his sleeve too.
Try two for Noyes. He boots it away, and it goes through the end zone, so he's not phased. And we will get our first examination at the Wisconsin offense. So, of course, Billy Edwards Jr., the starting quarterback, the transfer from Maryland last season, a 65% completion percentage, just south of 3,000 yards, 15 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, also tack on 5 rushing TDs on the ground. The biggest thing that jumped out for me when you look at Billy Edwards is his toughness. And this is really a constant throughout this entire Wisconsin quarterback room. These are guys that play the game hard, and they can run as well. Wisco starts in a pistol set, 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Here's the handoff. Right up the middle, and bouncing it to the outside goes Dylan Jones. He is slammed down at the 29. Be a short gain on first down.
That's a way to introduce the characters to this game on that first play. The Springfield, Virginia native, the former Maryland Terrapin, Billy Edwards, handing it off to the Good Counsel product and Laurel native, Dylan Jones. You're going to see a lot of that duo today in the backfield.
Second down and 5 here, just getting started. Shotgun set. Jones at the right hip of Edwards. 3 receivers to the left. Edwards drops back, clean pocket, throwing over the middle. He's got a man open, and a big game for Wisconsin. Past the 40 to the 35 and shoved out by Jalen Husky close to the 25-yard line. A massive pass play, and just like that, Wisco is knocking on the door here.
A 45-yard gain on the very first pass attempt, and that was all. The run after catch for the Ohio State transfer and Jaden Ballard. He brings it already to the edge of the red zone.
That sets up Wisco at the 25. First down and 10 with a minute pass in this first quarter. Pistol set for Edwards. 2 receivers on the left, 1 to the right. Tight end Lance Mason right next to the right hip of the right tackle. Edwards takes the snap. Handoff. Dylan Jones looking for a crease. He's brought down around the 23-yard line. So here Mathis was in there for the Terps. We'll go for a short gain for the redshirt freshman at a Good Counsel. There's a handful of players that were high school teammates with Dylan Jones. Neo Avery, Judah Jenkins, Ryan Capriati. This is a guy that I'm sure Mike Loxley had on his radar. Chose to play for the Badgers, their historic running back room. Out of the huddle, second down and 7. 13:20 to go in the first quarter, no score. First drive of the game. Edwards puts a man in motion, takes the snap, drops back to pass, looks right, now over the middle. It's tipped up and incomplete. Oh, almost into the hands of Dante Joyner. He was looking for Jaden Ballard again, and it falls incomplete. Third down and 7 coming up.
Yeah, good first incompletion forced by the Maryland defense. It's a Maryland defense that's again without Jamari Glasker, the Potomac native and transfer from Wake Forest. Not here today. He missed last week against Towson too. So look at Dante Joyner, who you mentioned was just in coverage right there, to try and cover that wide receiver 1 in Ballard.
Third down and 7 now. Ballard lines out to the right. 2 receivers on the left side. 1 running back in the backfield. Edwards hands it off. Navigating as Jones. He's stood up at the 21. Short gain as Daniel Wingate, Terps middle linebacker who has been all over the place to start the season off, holds Jones to a gain of 1. Wisco will kick a field goal.
Yeah, Wingate, the team leader in tackles for Maryland, makes a big stop there. And Daniel, I love the recovery for Maryland after allowing the 45-yard completion.
So here's our first field goal attempt of the day. This is Nathaniel Vakos, the senior from Avon, Ohio, getting ready for it. Should be about a 39-yarder here. Kick on the way, it's blocked! Picked up by Wisconsin. They take it across to the 19. But the Terps make a huge play and stop the Badgers. Mike Loxley talked about this. Special teams not getting enough love. They blocked a punt last week versus Towson, and they stall Wisconsin's first opening drive.
This is a unit under new special teams coordinator Andre Powell, who's been so successful so far this year. We've already seen a blocked punt, now add a blocked field goal to go with it. A Wisconsin team, Daniel, that's only attempted one field goal so far this year. That's the fewest among Big Ten teams with 3 games played. So on that second field goal attempt of 2025 for Veikos, how about Maryland getting in on the play, getting a hand to it, and keeping this a scoreless game?
So for all those watching Veikos on the Lou Groza watch list, you might want to look away. Blocked kick, first official miss of the season. We'll go to break and come back for the Terps offense coming up next on WMUC Sports. First look at the Terps offense here. They start at the 19. Malik Washington leads the Terrapins. They got to go 81 yards here. But the Terps defense did their job after giving up a 45-yard pass from Billy Edwards to Jaden Ballard. The Terps rallied and blocked the field goal. Now we'll see what they can do offensively. Washington starts under center. One receiver on each side. Play action, Washington, deep drop, he's got time, steps up, throws out of the backfield, dropped. He was looking for DeJuan Williams in the flat, it fell incomplete. He was feeling the pressure, and it'll be second down. That was Daryl Peterson coming in for the Badgers. Washington on the season, it's been a good run for him so far. 773 yards, 6 touchdowns, 1 interception, 1 fumble lost. Second down and 10 here from the 19, 12-19 to go in this first quarter. Thanks for joining us here on WMUC Sports from Camp Randall. Pistol set for the Terps. 2 receivers to the right, Octavian Smith in the slot. Shalik Knotts out wide. Washington claps his hands, rolls out to the right, looks for a short pass, fires down the field. It is caught! Down at the 47-yard line, Ock makes the catch. Great adjustment on the corner route. New set of downs for the Terps. Pickup of 25.
That's the first time of potentially many will call his name today, Daniel. Octavian Smith Jr., the Maryland native, coming off a career 103 yards receiving against Towson.
First down and 10 from the 45. Washington under center with a receiver on either side. DeJuan Williams in the backfield. Washington hands off to the right side. Strong side. Williams turns the corner, walks out of bounds near the 49. Short gain on first for DeJuan Williams, the redshirt freshman from St. Francis Academy.
So one thing I'm really looking at too, Daniel, you mentioned DeJuan Williams in there. What is the running back split between Williams, Nolan Ray, who's still on the sidelines? We haven't really seen a clear split of that because those non-conference games have consistently gotten out of hand quickly.
Second down and 5 from midfield. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right, 1 running back in the backfield. Washington Hands off. Williams sweeps to the right side, breaks through the first unit, picks up the first down, brought down at the 41. Good gain as Tackett Curtis brings him down, but DeJuan Williams, a guy who I think has kind of emerged as he's been the lead back in a group that the talent is there, but the rush yards per game quite have not. But the Terps so far with a good amount of yards here. 1st and 10 at the Wisconsin 42. A monster set for the Terps. Three offensive linemen. Now they're going to motion them back in here. Maybe a little bit of trickery here as it's a multiple tight end set. Leon Houghton in the game as well, in addition to Dorian Fleming. Tight set now. Washington under center with Williams in the backfield. Play action. Washington with plenty of time. He's going deep down the field, looking for Knotts. It's over his head. Intended for Caleb Webb. Washington wanted the home run ball. Good coverage there from Wisconsin and Deani Hill, and it's 2nd down and 10.
Yeah, for Maryland so far this year, Daniel, with the 3-0 start, every one of those big chunk plays has been through the air. We saw last week Washington complete a 53-yard pass to Octavian Smith for his longest pass of the season. Has a couple 40-plus yard passes, trying to air it out like that. Maryland, though, still without a rush longer than 17 yards.
2nd and 10 from the 42. Fleming in motion. Shotgun set for Washington. 2 receivers to his left, 1 to his right. Williams rolls out. Washington looks to pass. Pump fakes, throws over the middle, dropped behind Octavian Smith. He would have picked up about 6 if he caught it, but now it's 3rd and 10. So you take the shot on 1st down. You just tried to get some of it back on 2nd. Not able to do that, and the Terps will have to dig deep here on 3rd.
First time, Daniel, that Maryland at Camp Randall has a 3rd down. The Terps so far this season have the 2nd worst mark on 3rd down in the Big Ten.
3rd and 10. Washington clapped and then looked back to his coach, Mike Loxley. Clock stopped at 10:24. Washington with a shotgun set, 3 receivers to his left. Williams in the backfield, drops back. Wisconsin brings pressure. Washington throws over the middle. That's caught. Fleming is hit right where he stands. It'll put the Terps short. Jameer Latimer brings him down, the Jacksonville State transfer, and the Terps will have to punt.
It's a great play by the junior Latimer, a Fairburn, Virginia native, was all over Fleming when he caught that one about half the distance he needed before the sticks. So it sends out Bryce McPherson for the first time today.
It's not necessarily bad reads from Malik there. He found the open receiver, but wasn't able to convert. McPherson will punt. Ball is spotted on the 40. Wisconsin brings pressure. McPherson gets it away. Spinning punt is almost hauled in near the end zone, but it will roll in for a touchback. So unfortunate for the Terps, as after that big play to Octavian Smith, they couldn't get much more on the board. Still scoreless here with 9:40 to go in the 1st quarter from Camp Randall. our second look at the Wisconsin offense here in the first quarter. First game of Big Ten play here for these two teams, Maryland and Wisconsin. No score here, almost halfway through the first quarter. Ball is spotted at the 20. As Edwards and company will check in once again. Maryland's first drive, and both these teams' first drive, they got a big play early, but just wasn't able to get it done.
And Daniel, that's Billy Edwards Jr. not in the game anymore. It's Danny O'Neal who's taken over for him.
So, all right, O'Neal hands it off. He keeps it on the read option, he takes it to the 26. So this is interesting. Luke Fickell said that he was going to test out Billy Edwards, and now he's back in the game.
Okay. And of course, when that play that we just saw for O'Neal, it was an RPO where O'Neal kept it. The sophomore and transfer from San Diego State has started each of the last 2 games in place of Edwards. You wonder, maybe does O'Neal come in a little bit more when they're trying to be more multidimensional and run the ball?
Offensive coordinator Jeff Grimes, there's a lot of razzle-dazzle on the offense, as we'll probably come to see. 2nd down and 10, Edwards, play action, rolling to the right. Terps are near him, and Edwards just tosses it to a man on the sideline. Actually overshoots him. Good pressure there from the Terps. They'll set up 3rd down and 2.
There's that freshman that we've been talking about so much. It's Sidney Stewart, who gets past the right tackle into the face of Edwards, and then he applies some pressure. Levon Scruggs applies some pressure, and immediately after that play, Billy Edwards goes to the bench, and Danny O'Neal is back in the game.
So O'Neal, the San Diego State transfer, 2 interceptions against Bama, 1 touchdown. Maybe bringing him in for a short.
And that looked so scheduled, too. Edwards knew exactly when that play was over. He was heading to the bench.
3rd down and 2. They put a man in motion. Jones still in the backfield. Jet sweep. O'Neal keeps it. Makes a couple men miss. He is going to get the 1st down. Marked down at the 31. A lot of end arounds, a lot of jet sweeps. When you look at the scouting report for this Wisconsin offense, it's a heck of a lot of speed in their receiving core. We haven't seen it a ton with the exception of that catch from Jaden Ballard, but they were putting Kekahuna in motion, their slot wide out, but O'Neal ended up keeping it.
And it feels like every play, Daniel, we're just watching that bench. Edwards is still out of the game, and it's O'Neal in the shotgun.
1st down and 10 from the 31. No score. Now we're going to get a wildcat here. Jones takes the snap, but he is stuffed. The Terps are right there, about a yard at the most for Dylan Jones. 2nd down and 9.
Again, we're on Billy Edwards' report now. He's heading to the bike, trying to work out those legs. Again, every play that Danny O'Neal's been in there, we saw the Wildcat was a run, and the other ones were 2 keepers for O'Neal's, who on the ground rushing, 2 attempts for 11 yards. Just so interesting to see what Grimes and Fickell are doing right now.
2nd down and 9, 7:50 to go in the first quarter. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. The tight end Mason motions. O'Neal drops back. Pressure from the Terps, and they bring him down. Sidney Stewart continues to tear it up. He picks up his 4th sack of the season and sets up 3rd and long.
Yeah, the Joppa, Maryland native has been tremendous and then some for the Terps so far this year. He's a guy who was recruited by Wisconsin's been here before, now shining for Maryland.
3rd down and 16. O'Neal still the QB. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right, with the tight end Mason in the right slot. Dylan Jones at the right hip of O'Neal. Terps showing pressure. They bring 4. O'Neal drops back, just lofts it down the field. He's got a man open, but it's intercepted. Jalen Husky picks it off. He's still going at the 30, the 20, the 10. Husky tackled at the 4. Terps defense making plays as Husky picks up his first pick of the season. So you take out your starting quarterback, and the backup comes in and turns it over. That's now 2 drives, 2 statements made by the Terps defense.
Yeah, first time we see Danny O'Neal air it out. He didn't have an interception against number 19 Alabama last week, but this time he throws one way up for grabs there. Don't think it was a great throw at all by the sophomore, and Jalen Husky just fields the punt on the far side right in front of Maryland's own bench, and that leader in this Maryland room. For Husky, the Frederick, Maryland native, has his first INT of the season.
So the Terps are knocking on the door here. Can they punch it in from the 4? 6:55 to go, no score. Malik Washington and company come out here in a shotgun set with Nolan Ray in the backfield. Tight set for the Terps with the receivers close to the tight ends. Washington claps his hands, takes the snap, hands it off. Ray up the middle. He is close, but marked down at 1 or 2 yard line. A short gain, and the Terps get halfway there.
And you flip it back to Maryland's offense, Daniel, after that interception for the Terps. It's a Big Ten leading 8 interceptions already this season. Maryland only had 9 all of the season to go. Terps right on the doorstep, and they convert here for the first score of the game.
Ray still the backfield. Shotgun set from the 1. Washington hands it off. No, it's a keeper, and Malik is going to get in. What a statement from the Terps. They lead 6-0 on the QB keeper from Malik Washington. And Maryland couldn't capitalize off the blocked field goal, but now they capitalize off the interception. And they silence Camp Randall here halfway through the first.
This place is quiet, and that's saying something with Camp Randall nearing probably close to 80% capacity. Love the play design by offensive coordinator Pep Hamilton. They used that same play to get Washington his first rushing touchdown a week ago against Towson. Now the true freshman with his second, and it puts Maryland up with the first score.
Sean O'Hare for the extra point. Kick is up, and it is good. 7-0, and the athleticism of Malik often goes kind of under the radar. He's such a good pocket passer, so comfortable dropping back. But on those read options, we've seen him more and more, and the Terps use it at the ultimate time here to pick up the first touchdown. We'll take a break here. 7-0 Maryland in Camp Randall with 6:22 to go in the first quarter. Well, a great start for the Terps here. 7-0, they lead the Badgers after Malik Washington runs in a touchdown, led on by that interception and return from Jalen Husky. Terps will kick it away here, up by a touchdown. A great atmosphere, a great day. Hasn't quite cooled down here in the Midwest. It's around 70 degrees. It was pouring earlier today, but now the sun has come out. It is a great day for football here. Phillip Noyes gets ready to kick away. Terps offense in this game trailing in total yards. Wisconsin's got 59, Terps only have 45. But the only thing that matters is the scoring column, and the Terps are in front. Kickoff fielded around the 7-yard line by the Badgers. They got some blockers in front. Good return up past the 30-yard line. So it'll be good field position for the Badgers, led by the quarterback that we will try to see which one it is. It was Billy Edwards on the first drive, mainly O'Neal on the second. Once they break the huddle, we'll get a better look. And it is going to be O'Neal. First down and 10 from the 31.
Not seeing Billy Edwards on the sideline either, Daniel. Think he went over to the Wisconsin locker room.
Could be in the tent as well. We'll keep an eye on him for you. 2 receivers to the left, 2 to the right. Running back at the left hip. O'Neal, low snap, drops back, great protection. He rolls out right. Looking for a receiver there is nobody home. He just throws it away. Closest receiver in the area was Kekahuna. Second down and 10.
In the middle of the pocket, collapsed on Daniel O'Neal. A big reason why, though, was Ian Thomas, the redshirt sophomore from St. Francis. Daniel, I say his name because you go back and look at the stats. He blocked that first field goal from Veikos. Ian Thomas has really gotten into his own over these last 2 games. Forced a fumble against Towson last week while picking up half a sack. Now has that huge field goal block that's put Maryland ahead 7-0.
Such a great story on that defensive line coming over from St. Francis. Second down and 10. Mason goes in motion. O'Neal keeps it, sidearm slings it and finds his tight end. Good move crossing the 35 is Lance Mason. That's the Missouri State transfer who's had a fantastic start to the season. That's his 10th catch, over 100 yards and a touchdown. This is a guy who was an All-American last year. He was a pretty prized transfer coming over. And the junior from Rockwall, Texas has been fantastic. Picks up a short gain, makes it 3rd and 6. 5:38 to go in this first quarter, 7-0 Terps. O'Neal in a shotgun set. Takes the snap, drops back, looks left, and now steps up. Looking for the first down. He is smothered and thrown to the ground. He's going to be short of the sticks. Sidney Stewart there again. And the Camp Randall fans starting to boo. It's just a 1-yard gain, and the Badgers have to punt it away.
Lake Wisconsin 1 for 5 on 3rd down so far today, Daniel. This is a team that's really struggled so far. The fewest first downs per game by a Big Ten team. We're going up against a Maryland defense that has held Wisconsin to a 1 for 5, and last week held Towson to 1 for 13 on 3rd down.
Here's the first Wisco punt of the game. This is Atticus Bertram's to punt it away. Jalil Farouk back deep, and the lefty swings one to the 19. Farouk makes the catch and takes it for about a net 0 return average, brought down at the 18. And the Terps will come back out on offense here, already up by 7. So far from Malik Washington, not a huge body of work. 2 for 5, 28 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Does have the rushing touchdown. And Octavian Smith, the leading receiver, with 1 catch for 26 yards. We'll step aside here with 4:43 to go in the first. Terps still up over Wisconsin, 7-0. Terps offense takes over at the 19 in the waning minutes of this first quarter. But so far it's been a successful one for Maryland. They lead 7-0 And Malik Washington and company will check in here for another drive. It's a shotgun set for Malik with a running back in the backfield, 2 receivers to the left, and a couple of tight ends as well. Just waiting on the referee's whistle, and here we go. Farouk in motion. Washington waits for everyone to get set out of the pistol. Fakes the handoff, screen, Farouk dropped it. It's been a problem. That pass was on the hands, a little bit out in front, but that's pretty much right where you want it on a screen.
And that's been something that Mike Locksley has talked about often, of how do you help a freshman quarterback? That's the big question that Maryland's trying to figure out. A huge reason, and something that they can correct easily, is the drops. Again, this is a very experience-heavy Maryland team where you got the junior and Jaleel Farouk, the 2 seniors, and Shalik Knotts and Octavian Smith. Got to catch a ball, especially on a screen pass like that one to Farouk.
2nd and 10 for the 19. Williams motions back into the pistol set. Fleming in motion, 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. Washington claps his hands off. Williams navigates, brought down at the 21. Tyrese Fearbry in there for the Badgers on that inside zone. It's a 2-yard gain, 3rd and long again coming up here for Maryland. Have not seen Shalik Knotts yet. Been waiting to call his name. Octavian Smith has the biggest play on offense for the Terps. The Camp Randall crowd starting to get loud. 3rd and 8 from the 21. Shotgun set from Malik. Williams is the back. Knotts the wide receiver to the outside on the right. 2 receivers to the left. Washington feels the pressure, throws outside, caught. Dorian Fleming, he's going to be very close to the sticks. Let's see where they mark him. They're going to rule him about a yard short, and the Terps will punt. Good read by Malik, but Fleming just not able to get there. It'll be 4th down and 2 from the 27. So barring any trickery here, the Terps will put McPherson out for his 2nd punt of the game. Tyrell Henry is the return man for Wisco. Here's McPherson's kick, end over end. Henry calls for a fair catch at the 25. So a 3 and out for the Terps on offense here. We'll get another look at the Wisconsin offense. But the Terps defense has really stood up Wisco. They've held them to just 65 yards of total offense. 16 of those have been on the ground, and Wisconsin 1 for 4 on 3rd downs so far. This was a question not only for Maryland but for Wisconsin coming into the game, was how was the offensive line going to fare? We talked about it a little bit in the open, but the sack so far, Sidney Stewart, that was working against the grad student Riley Mullman at left tackle. So the freshman just truly fearless here. In the pistol, O'Neal still the QB. Man in motion, handoff up the middle, big hole for Jones, who picks up about 9 yards, maybe has enough to move the sticks, and he does.
Yeah, 10-yard rush, the longest that we've seen so far on the day for either team. It comes from Dylan Jones. He bounces off of Zahir Mathis for a minute, drags the big freshman defensive end with him for the final couple yards.
1st down and 10, that moves the sticks for the Badgers. Ball now placed at the 35. Tight shotgun set with a receiver on the right, 2 on the left. A little bit of trickery here, end around with a head of steam. This is a good run from Wisconsin. As Duckel Crowdis able to get a good gain on first, moves the chains again for the Badgers.
You mentioned that first-year offensive coordinator that they got in Jeff Grimes. He really wants to run the ball, but unpredictably. That means not only Dylan Jones and Darian Dupree in the backfield, they like getting Trekahuna the ball. There they got Crowdis the end around. That's what they like to do. How about some more trickery here?
They only had 1 offensive lineman. Now they motion 2 in. It's a monster set with 4 O-linemen on the right side and a man coming in motion. They hand it off. This is Dylan Jones, who makes a stiff arm, crosses midfield, and Husky rattles him out of bounds at the 47. It's about a 6 or 7 yard gain for Dylan Jones on the jet sweep. And again, it's that razzle-dazzle, the trickery from Jeff Grimes. It's not your usual Wisconsin offense, but so far on this drive, it's working pretty well. Pickup of 7.
Grimes comes over after a single season as Kansas's offensive coordinator. Again, that unpredictability, and while running the ball, knowing how important the running game is to Big Ten football. Here's a Wildcat again.
Jones takes a snap, it goes over his head. It rolls all the way back to the 34-yard line where he is trounced. It looks like the Badgers still have it. Great work by the Terps getting to that ball. And it's just a wayward snap from Jake Renfro, the center. And it makes it, how about this? I mean, I'm a Bears fan, so I'm used to this, but 3rd and 30. How about that?
That's a loss of 21 yards on the snap that goes over the head of Dylan Jones. Again, Jones, a smaller guy. He stands at only 6 foot. He's a little bit shorter than the 6'2" O'Neal, who's usually in that quarterback.
So the Terps basically just playing prevent here. 3 safeties, 3rd down and 30. O'Neal underneath. Tretch Kekahuna. This is not a guy you want to leave in the open field, and he's taken down at the 46. So actually a pretty good gain for Kekahuna before Fontes brings him down. It's 17 yards, but the Badgers will still punt.
Just one of its first 5 on 3rd downs for Wisconsin, though it forces out the punter again in Atticus Bertrams. This is Big Ten football, Daniel. Each of these scores becomes so much more important when the defenses play as they are.
Jalil Farouk is the return man, 4th and 14. Bertrams to punt it away. It's blocked again by the Terps. A special teams masterclass, and Messiah Delhomme has his 2nd blocked punt in 2 games.
Wow.
The freshman from Newport News, Virginia. He's about to make the news if he keeps playing like this.
Last week, Delhomme had Maryland's first block punt since 2018. He says, all right, how about 2 in as many weeks? Maryland's special teams was such an underratedly struggling group last year for a Maryland team that went 4-8 on the year. Now under Andre Powell, you bring in the kicker, Sean O'Hare. You know what Bryce McPherson can do as a punter, but it's all these other guys around him. Delhomme, Ian Thomas, they've been sensational, and Maryland starts his drive at the 28.
Should be the final play of the first quarter. 11 seconds to go. Terps offense comes out in a pistol set. 1 receiver each side. Nolan Ray, the back. DJ Samuels in there as well. Washington claps his hands in the pistol. Play action. He's looking deep. He goes to the up man. Here's Samuels making the catch. Brought down at the 26. A short gain for the Terps. And that is where the first quarter comes to an end. So 7-0, Maryland ahead of Wisconsin here, but the story of this game so far has been the special teams. First the blocked field goal, now the blocked punt, and the Terps off to a good start here, 1 quarter into conference play. We'll step aside here for a quick break. Ryan will take over play-by-play duties in the second, and we'll be back. You're listening to Terps Football on WMUC Sports.
7-0 Maryland entering the second quarter in the 2025 Big Ten opener. The 3-0 Maryland Terrapins at Camp Randall Stadium in Madison, Wisconsin, taking on the 2-1 Badgers and up by a touchdown. Ryan Martin alongside Daniel Stein and sideline reporter Adam Lippman. Adam, you're back up here in the booth. What are you noticing down in Camp Randall on this trip so far?
Right now I'm noticing Maryland look very disciplined in the best way possible in their Big Ten opener. They look in control, and on the other side, Wisconsin, they do not look like they have a captain behind center. This switching between O'Neal and Billy Edwards Jr., Ryan, it does not look like this is an intentional strategy. It looks like they're trying to throw off Mike Loxley, honestly, and Wisconsin are suffering for it. The team looks like they don't have a captain right now. They need a leader on the field. Wisconsin seems lower energy. The crowd has been in and out. There have been more fire-fickle chants than quality Wisconsin drives so far this game.
And Adam, right now we see the former Maryland Terrapin just a year ago, Billy Edwards Jr. He's pacing around the sidelines, going back and forth from the bike. What are you noticing right now about what Wisconsin's trying to do with him?
Billy Edwards Jr. was hobbling on and off the field a little bit, and when they were switching between him and Danny O'Neal, it looked like they were just trying to throw Mike Loxley off, see if that would, get in Maryland's head. This is your former guy. We've got him now. He's going to try and beat you. Billy Edwards Jr. does not look ready for a full game, and they're going to have to stick with Danny O'Neal, who's already thrown a costly interception.
We'll see about that, Adam. Thanks so much for that update from the sidelines. It's Maryland, Wisconsin, 7-0 Terps entering the second quarter. Terps now going from left to right. Maryland starts the second quarter with a 2nd and 9 ball at its own at Wisconsin's 27. Malik Washington in the pistol. DeJuan Williams to his back. Washington takes a snap. Pump takes it to Williams. Throws across the right side, and it's caught by Octavian Smith Jr. at the 21-yard line. He didn't think he was tackled. Gets back up, but the whistle is blown after a gain of 6.
Well, great stuff, and this is what you want to do with your freshman quarterback here. Get the ball out early. Easy throws here, especially so close to the end zone. You just got to be careful.
After the first down, correct that, and the ball is in Maryland's attacking red zone. Ball at the 15-yard line. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left for Washington, now under center. 1st and 10, Washington takes a snap, puts it into the belly of Nolan Ray. Cuts it all the way to the left side, past the 10, near out of bounds at around the 7-yard line. Nolan Ray pops it to the outside on his second carry of the day. Sets up a 2nd and short for Maryland. Within 10 yards to go.
I like the outside handoff with Ray. They've tried to kind of run him up the middle. It hasn't worked. He's a smaller guy, but he's got a lot of speed. Put him on the outside.
Nolan Ray looking for his first touchdown of the season. Ball at the 9-yard line. 2nd and 4 for Maryland. Washington back into the gun. Pump fakes it, throws it to the left side. It's tipped by Wisconsin defensive lineman, and will just drop as an incompletion on the far side. It's 3rd and 4. Maryland so far today just 0 for 2 on 3rd downs. They've been in the red zone before, had the 1-yard score by Malik Washington. That was set up after a Jalen Husky interception on a NCAA leading 8th interception of the year for Maryland. Camp Randall will get to its feet for a moment. 3rd and 4 for Maryland at Wisconsin's 9-yard line. 2 receivers to the left. Malik Farouk in motion from left to right. Washington takes the snap. Has time, looking end zone, firing, and it's caught for a touchdown. Shalik Knotts on the post route. That's a 2nd touchdown for Maryland. It's 13-0 awaiting the extra point for Knotts. That's a 4th touchdown in 4 games to lead all Terps. 13-0 with 13:47 left in the second.
Well, Malik and Shalik used some Midwest lingo there and said, hush, to this Camp Randall crowd. I was waiting until they were going to throw to Malik, or throw to Shalik Knotts it would be, and they found him. Nice corner route ran, and on 3rd down, Terps convert 13-0.
A 9-yard score to Shalik Knotts, the senior, with his team leading 4th touchdown. 9th on the season for Malik Washington. Point after go with the hold, and the kick is up by O'Hare. It is good to make it 14-0 Maryland. Well, the Terps need just 5 plays, go 28 yards in 1 minute 24 seconds. A 9-yard touchdown from Malik Washington to Shalik Knotts makes it 14-0 Terps. Maryland up 2 scores on the road in its Big Ten opener. Keep it right here, no TV timeout needed. So Daniel, Wisconsin maybe playing on its heels a little bit, now down 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and for a team that was favored by 10.5, Ryan, it sure doesn't look like it. Maybe the Vegas books had the wrong team in the favor, but for the Terps, this is, I think, just part of the game plan. Starting strong, especially on the road, but so far I've been really impressed with just the poise that the offense has played with. Some things haven't gone their way, but they haven't panicked. They've stuck to the script, and so far it's put them up 2 scores.
Washington now 6 for 11, 56 yards, and that 9-yard touchdown pass to Shalik Knox. From left to right, Philip Noyes back to kick it off. It's an end-over-end kick. This one will be returnable for Henry. Catches at the 5-yard line, sprints up to the 10, the 15, past the 20, near the 25 before he's finally taken down by Maryland after a solid return. In on the tackle for the Terps, it's the special teamer, Dylan Fontes, who gets to him. A minute and change into the second quarter, a 14-0 Maryland lead. Started 7-0 the first quarter with a 1-yard rush by Malik Washington. Then he makes it 14-0 on a 9-yard pass to Shalik Knox. Here is the Wisconsin offense, again led by the sophomore in Danny O'Neill. Out of Indianapolis, San Diego State transfer, who was an all-Mountain West honorable mention a year ago. He's joined in the backfield by Darian Dupree. Ball starts at the 26-yard line on 1st and 10. Mason in motion to the left. In the shotgun, O'Neill takes a snap. Rolls out to his left, opposite way, has a lot of time, near the 20, pump fakes, now just throws it out of bounds. Pressure in his face by Trey Reddick, and it draws the first flag of the game.
Well, this looks like it's going to be roughing the passer. I'm not really sure if it should be, but for the record, the Terps played this play perfectly. It's just a fake with a little kind of flat route out of the shotgun. Everyone is going the same way. The defense completely matched O'Neill here. This would be a pretty bad penalty here for the Terps, but they're still deliberating on it.
Still some discussion for the official crew, led by referee Francisco Villar today. We'll await his call. He's having words with Luke Fickle. So Villar does call it a 15-yard penalty on Trey Reddick. First flag of this game goes against the sophomore from Hampton, Virginia. Penalties were an issue for Maryland last year. This year, a little bit cleaner, especially in those 2 most recent wins against Northern Illinois and Towson.
Just a tough penalty that puts Wisco at the 41. And, you know, Trey Reddick is a guy who plays with a lot of intensity. That's what Maryland likes out of those inside linebackers. They're a pretty long lineage of that kind of archetype of player. Even with Daniel Wingate, his partner on the inside, they both are just flying around the field, but sometimes the emotion can come out a little bit too much there, and just that's going to be one of those mental errors that Mike Loxley talked about cleaning up.
And for Maryland fans, you hope it's actually not a mental error just yet. They're going to take an official review over it. Again, Francisco Villar and his team of officials today. They have the replay out on the field for Reddick, a Phoebus High School graduate, Virginia native who stayed home, played in 11 games last year, and has played in all 4 so far. About a minute and a half into the second quarter, it's a 14-0 Maryland lead. Terps have scored a touchdown in each of the first 2 quarters. After they take a look at it, they'll keep it as a 15-yard roughing the passer against Trey Reddick. That first flag of the game sets Wisconsin up now with a 1st and 10 at its own 41-yard line.
So I think they were looking at that play for potential targeting. But Reddick is not walking off the field. He's not on the field right now for this particular play. But judging by the crowd reaction, they didn't call it.
1st and 10 from the 41. Trips receivers to the left. Mason, the tight end, hand in the ground on the right side. O'Neill takes a snap, fakes the give, now shovels it to the left where Dupree is waiting. Gets about 2 or 3 yards towards the left side before taken down by Jalen Husky. Shovel pass only goes for a few for Wisconsin. Sets up a 2nd and 6 for the Badgers' 45-yard line. So again, we'll keep watching so closely. Daniel O'Neill still the quarterback in, but for Wisconsin, the Maryland transfer in Billy Edwards, who's watching right next to Fickle on the sideline. 2nd and 6, 2 receivers to each side. Dupree to the left. O'Neill takes a snap, has time in the middle of the pocket, fires, deep pass down the right side, and it's in the hands, but then dropped by the wide receiver. And they're going to draw another flag on the play. This one's in the backfield on Zahir Mathis, the intended wide receiver for O'Neill, which is Trek Tekahuna.
There's 2 flags on the field. One is around where the ball was snapped, and the other is in the far backfield. O'Neal had his man open. He just overshot him, and it was a good job corralling to the ball by the Terps, just knocking that ball to the ground. We'll check the flag, though.
The foul by both teams and it will be enforced. Personal foul, hands to the face, 57 of the defense. After the play, unnecessary roughness, foul. By 59 the also enforced. It will be first and 10, Wisconsin.
It's Judah Jenkins getting called for the hands to the face penalty. There was another penalty on Wisconsin. So the penalties ended up offsetting.
So we'll just redo it again. 2nd and 6 from Wisconsin's 45-yard line. Those flags kept in the pockets of Francisco Villar's crew in the first quarter, but now in the second quarter, a couple flags on back-to-back plays. 14-0 Maryland. Wisconsin looking for its first score, would be its second trip to the red zone after Maryland's Ian Thomas blocked a first quarter field goal. 12:56 left to go in the second quarter. Right now, Daniel, Maryland's defense has just been stifling any pass attempt that O'Neal tries to let go of.
This is, I think, the main confidence in the Terps so far. You're going against Billy Edwards. Obviously, you know him, but Danny O'Neal, less confidence.
Here's O'Neal, takes a snap on 1st and 10. Tracing pressure, steps up in the pocket, still on his feet. Now scrambles to the right side before he's taken down hard by Daniel Wingate. Wingate gets to him for his second sack of the season. And Maryland now sets up a 2nd and long for Wisconsin.
That hit did not look good. Wingate, obviously a guy who can kind of really slam you, but then he sent O'Neal into the body of another player. O'Neal was a little slow to get up, but he's back in the pocket here, set up 2nd and 16.
Wingate's out leader in the second level for Maryland. Dick Butkus, 2025 watch list member as the top linebacker in college football. Mason in motion, now O'Neal takes a snap. Play action, fires, is caught by Anthony. Misses one tackle at the 45. Down to the 42-yard line. And goes a first down on 2nd and 16 for Wisconsin. Badgers move it to Maryland's side of the field.
Yeah, just like Shalik Knott's waiting to get his name called, Vinny Anthony, that's the same one, the senior on the Horning preseason watch list. This was Wisco's #1 guy heading into the year, makes his first appearance of the game.
Goes to a gain of 17 on 2nd and 16. 1st and 10 for Wisconsin at Maryland's 42. O'Neal takes a snap, puts it into the belly of Dupree. Makes one tackler miss, but then pulled down at the 41-yard line. A short gain for Wisconsin. Sets up another 2nd and long with 11.5 to go until halftime. And we mentioned the experience for Wisconsin, especially on the left side. Left tackle Riley Malman, left guard Joe Brunner, and Jake Renfro, the center who's now back from injury. It's experience, but they've had a lot of lapses so far, especially in the run game. Now here's O'Neal, 2 receivers to the right. It sends a direct snap to Capabelli. Flings it over to his quarterback, and O'Neal, he looks to pass, but then is sacked by Dylan Fontes. So Wisconsin goes for some trickery, a direct snap to the running back, shovels it to his quarterback, but Fontes, the game captain for this week, was not fooled at all and has another sack to set up a 3rd and 18.
This is where Jeff Grimes and I have just philosophical differences here on offense. When your offense is struggling, you don't want to, in my opinion, increase the trickery. You want to make it more simple, and Grimes so far did not do that on that last play. A big loss, sets up 3rd and 18.
Second sack of this drive for Maryland. Sets up a 3rd and 18. O'Neal takes the snap, a lot of time in his face. Goes on the screen pass, but it goes incomplete. He was in the area looking for his tight end, and Lance Mason, maybe some conversation from the Maryland sideline of if that should have been intentional grounding in the pocket. Instead, it just sets up a punt on 4th and 18.
Yeah, that was an ugly series for the Badgers. I mean, they got some help from Trey Reddick on that roughing the passer penalty, but other than that, O'Neal just hasn't really been able to keep his composure in the pocket, and now they had to punt it away here.
Sacks by Dylan Fontes, and Daniel Wingate set this one up, and Leo Farouk is back to return as 5. Punt is off by Bertrams. This one tipping towards middle of the field. Farouk will let it take one bounce and then go into the Wisconsin red end zone on the far side for a touchback. 10 minutes, 17 seconds left to go until halftime. Maryland up 14-0. A rushing touchdown and a passing touchdown from Malik Washington as the true freshman quarterback, and the Terps in the driver's seat on the road. We'll be right back for the remainder of the second quarter. Coming up next on WMUC Sports. Well, on the road in its 2025 Big Ten opener, it's about as good of a start as Maryland and its fans could have asked for. 14-0 Terps here at Camp Randall Stadium in Madison, Wisconsin. The Badgers have allowed the Terps to go up 2 touchdowns. It was a first quarter rushing touchdown by Malik Washington, second quarter passing touchdown with a 9-yard strike to Shalik Knotts to put the Terps up 14-0. Back on WMUC Sports, and so excited to make that first road trip in the 2025 academic year. I'm Ryan Martin alongside Daniel Stein. And Daniel, this is a Maryland team, 3-0 on the year, but facing its toughest competition. Maryland hasn't looked phased against the Big Ten opponent in Wisconsin.
Yeah, and Maryland has this running streak going, 18 consecutive non-conference wins. At this point, that was kind of an eye roll for a lot of Terps fans. They're like, all right, let's get it done in conference play. I don't want to speak too soon because it's only been a quarter and change, but as you mentioned, this is a great start.
The Maryland team that went 1-8 in Big Ten play after a couple seasons in a row going 4-5. Here's Malik Washington and Maryland's offense. After the touchback, Terps set up at their own 20-yard line. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right, and DeJuan Williams directly behind Malik Washington. So far today, Washington 6 for 11, 56 yards and a touchdown. Washington in the shotgun, takes a snap, hands it right into Williams. Bounces off to the left side, makes one Wisconsin tackler miss, but then is taken down by Aaron Witt. Ben Hartnell got the first touch on it too. It's a gain of 2 for DeJuan Williams. Sets up a 2nd and 8 from Maryland's 22.
And the Terps haven't really been able to rush the ball that much, and neither have the Badgers. I mean, just 25 yards apiece for these two teams. But again, it's the score that matters, not the rush yards.
Maryland trying to work its running game into existence. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left for Washington. He takes the snap, looks left, has a man there, and Octavian Smith catches it at the 32-yard line and is dragged out of bounds by a couple of Badgers right before the 30. So the Terps today have relied on their running game. 7 rushing attempts so far for Maryland, but it's been quick passes like that so far to set up situations like this. 3rd and 1 for Maryland, up 14-0 with under 10 minutes to go in the second quarter.
Yeah, if I'm Wisco, I'm looking out for the read option here.
Williams, the running back to Washington's right hip. 2 snaps, takes a snap, gives it off to Williams. He has the first down and more. Past the 35, scampers up to the 40-yard line before he's finally taken down by Christian Allegro. That's a sensational linebacker for Wisconsin. He makes the tackle, but not until a gain of 8 for DeJuan Williams, and sets up a first down for Maryland.
It's good enough for his longest run of the day, and they just go simple inside zone, pounded up the middle. Wisconsin, they're going to show a lot of 3 fronts, and that's what the Terps are going to attack. 1st and 10
for Maryland at its own 41. Another handoff to Williams right up the middle. This time Allegro was ready for him after a gain of only a yard or 2. We've talked about it so much, Daniel. This is Pat Hamilton, a guy who has NFL experience coaching Andrew Luck, Justin Herbert. He's here to reestablish this running game in a Big Ten conference that loves the ground and pound.
And so far, Pep has kept it pretty simple on offense, and it's not 100 yards at this point, but they've got the yards where they've needed to.
2nd and 9. This time Washington throws. He goes across the middle, and it's dropped by Shalik Knotts. The senior wide receiver, who already has a touchdown today, will let it bounce off both of his hands before it hit the ground incomplete on the hook route. Sets up a 3rd and 9 for Maryland at its own 42.
I mean, that's a killer. That goes from 3rd and 2, if not the first down, to 3rd and 9. Terps got to hunker down again here.
Maryland so far today 1 for 3 on 3rd down. Octavian Smith in motion from left to right. He joins Farouk and Knotts on the right side. Now an audible for Pep Hamilton. He's up here in the booth. He's not field side as Maryland's offensive coordinator. He sees something he doesn't like, readjusts the plays as Washington had to words with Williams to his left side. Washington on 3rd and 9, takes a snap, faces pressure, rolls out to the right, scrambles outside the pocket. On the run, will just throw it to the left side out of bounds off the left hand of Shalik Knotts. But the senior wide receiver was never bringing that one back in play and sends out Bryce McPherson in the Maryland punt unit with 8 minutes, 14 seconds left in the second quarter. The Terps up 14-0.
It's a tough play. I appreciate Malik throwing the ball out of bounds, but I think he had Jalil Farouk downfield. I think he also could have ran for this if he wanted to. We really haven't seen Washington scramble that much. Instead, the Terps, after getting that first down, they now have to punt. And gonna have a flag thrown here as a Terp just kind of fell to the ground. This might be an offside against Wisconsin here.
Offside. Playing on the defense, making contact. Down.
Eyes of steel up here, Daniel, for you. You're right, that was Tyler Jancy who jumped off sides right in front of the game captain this week in DJ Samuels. They love Samuels, the captain now from Englewood, New Jersey, who's played both sides of the ball. Makes it a bit more manageable. A 4th and 4 now for Maryland's 47. McPherson still out to punt and looking for Tyrell Harry, the Wisconsin returner. 3rd punt today for McPherson. He takes the snap, and the punt is off. This one's an end over end kick on the right side. Henry calls a fair catch right between the 1 and the 0. The Wisconsin 10-yard line on the far side. Billy Edwards Jr. will be the first to greet his Wisconsin teammates. He's got no helmet in sight, though, and it looks like it will be Danny O'Neill, the quarterback, again into the game for Wisconsin. It's a Badgers team that has had no answer for Maryland so far, even though slowed things down a little bit on that pass drive. It's 14-0 Maryland. Wisconsin will look for its first score of the game with 8 minutes and 7 seconds left in the second quarter. That's where we'll bring it right to you next on WMUC Sports.
Service exemplifies bravery and dedication. This soldier earned the Combat Action Badge for her role in ground combat operations during deployment to Iraq, showcasing resilience in the face of danger. Additionally, she received the Army Commendation Medal in recognition of her heroic actions and exceptional service both on the battlefield and during peacetime.
Back with you on WMUC Sports with 8 minutes, 7 seconds left to go in the second quarter. It's the Maryland Terrapins up 14-0 over the Wisconsin Badgers in the 2025 Big Ten opener. We're over here at Camp Randall Stadium, one of the oldest college football stadiums, second oldest in the country that's still active back to 1917. The former home of Civil War training, where General Randall was one of the top generals in this Wisconsin area. Named the field, the area after him is Camp Randall Stadium in Madison, Wisconsin. Home team Badgers haven't had much to jump around about just yet for Wisconsin. Still nothing on the scoreboard, while Danny O'Neill 3 for 7 and just 36 yards passing. Wisconsin starts this drive at its own 10-yard line. Trips receivers to the left, Dylan Jones, the running back, alone in the backfield. Hand off to Jones, he'll cut it up the middle. He'll go 2 or 3 yards before Daniel Wingate in the Maryland defensive line get to the Wisconsin running back from Laurel, Maryland. It's a gain of 3, 2nd and 7 upcoming at Wisconsin's 13.
Yeah, it's been a minute since Jones got a handoff. Dupree was being used a lot in the second quarter. But the Terps there defensively, it goes for a gain of 3, 2nd down and medium here.
There are 8 minutes to go until halftime. And O'Neill wasn't expecting the snap from the center in Jake Renfro. And that's a couple times now that the graduate center in Renfro, Cincinnati transfer, has been off the same page with his quarterback O'Neill or his running back in Jones or Yacomelli when in the Wildcat.
I mean, maybe he heard on 1 instead of on 3. I mean, these are just the mistakes that have been following Wisconsin throughout this game. You know, there's something to be said for coming out there on offense and playing a clean game and just not getting the job done. But there have been mental mistakes, penalties that have really hurt the Badgers today.
Audible at the line now for the Badgers at 2nd and 12 from Wisconsin's own 12. O'Neill takes a snap, play action, he's in the end zone, he's got to scramble out to his right, throws it out of harm's way, and it just goes towards Maryland's bench. And there's Jones, who's down on the play after O'Neill was running for his life.
Dylan Jones still at a knee. I didn't really see what happened. I think he took a block and just fell down. And they're going to make him take this play off here, just limping. Maybe a right leg not feeling right. Hurts to see even for Terps fans. He's a local kid, a really highly recruited running back, and a real talented player. But he'll have to take this play off.
Jones from Laurel, Maryland, Good Counsel High School in Olney. He's got 3 Maryland players who were teammates with him at Good Counsel, including 2 defenders, Judah Jenkins and Neo Avery. After the ball thrown out of bounds, here's a 3rd and 12 from Wisconsin at its own 8-yard line. Now it's Dupree to the left side, 3 wide receivers to the right. Acuna in motion from the right side. This one's going to be a handoff, keeper by O'Neill. He gets 6 or 7 yards. He's short of the line to gain easily. A 4th down in Wisconsin's own territory. Enter the junior punter again in Addison Bertrams. He's on for, once again, another punt. It'll be his 4th of the game.
Yeah, and as much as it's 4th and 1, you're at the 19. You've already had a blocked punt today. Bertrams is one of those guys who've seen kind of foreign punters start to leak their way into college, the NFL. He's an Australian native. Get this, last year he had a 74-yard punt.
See if he has that here on 4th and 1. The punt is off. This one tipping towards the left side. Farouk will be interfered with by Wisconsin Badger. The flag is thrown, and Wisconsin jumps on it. More specifically, that's Jaden Ballard who got to it, but he clearly made contact with the Oklahoma transfer and Jaleel Farouk, who is out for his 2nd punt return. This one will give Maryland a couple of free yards.
Well, they're going to talk about this for a second. The nuance in this play is that you have to make sure he wasn't pushed into it, because sometimes the gunners will do that. But from the naked eye, I'd like to see the replay, but from the naked eye, it looked like he just barged into Farouk. But they're still talking about this here. This is a big call.
Ballard seemed to make contact with Farouk before the ball was anywhere close to Jaleel. Maryland up 14-0, 6 minutes, 24 seconds left to go in the second quarter, awaiting this decision. We only have a second to talk about it too. How about the defense for Maryland? Across these last 2 games, Daniel, holding opponents to 2 for 20 on 3rd downs. Maryland has gotten off the field when it's needed to.
Yeah, and the Maryland offense hasn't been particularly good. Let's check the call.
So it's Wisconsin's ball. How about this? Just when we talk about Maryland's defense, we'll say, wait a second, the defense has to make a few more plays. They say that Ballard got pushed into Farouk. That ball was up for grabs after a touch off of Farouk, and Wisconsin recovers at Maryland's 19-yard line.
I don't agree with the call. I want to see a replay of this, but that is a huge call, and I'm not really even sure if you can say that this is a mistake on the Terps' part. Mike Loxley is talking to about 3 different referees right now.
And they're going to put this one under review again. I think Mike Loxley's got a case. Andre Powell, the first-year special teams coordinator, is over close to past the numbers talking with a few referees. This is a Maryland special teams unit that has been special so far today. A field goal block in the first quarter, and then a punt block again by Messiah Delhomme. He's got 2 in the last 2 games.
This has to get overturned. It's such minimal contact. I mean, the gunner is 2 yards away from it. We're watching it on the replay now. I mean, it's not punishing contact. It's not unnecessary roughness, but I was really surprised that they made that call on the field after the deliberation, of course, that it was Wisco ball. I think, in my book, this would get overturned.
Bit of wide receiver one on wide receiver one battles right there between Wisconsin's Jaden Ballard, transfer from Ohio State, and Maryland's Jaleel Farouk, the transfer from Oklahoma. You're right, Ballard, one of the faster receivers that Danny O'Neill and Billy Edwards have at their disposal. So you put him in on special teams. Ricardo Cooper was the gunner right there, and just let him go right by him.
I mean, he puts his hand on his back.
The ball was not touched by the receiving team. The ball was legally touched by the kicking
That's what we
team.
thought.
The first and 10 for Maryland at the 30-yard
So what happened, I was looking at it on the replay again, and I was saying, wait a second, did Farouk touch it? Because Ballard pushed Farouk to the ground.
Right.
The only thing that could have happened if they called it a legal play on Ballard would be that once Farouk fell to the ground, he touched it accidentally, and then Ballard picked it up. But there was no contact by Maryland, so it just goes as if a regular punt that's spotted by Ballard, even with all the dramatics.
Yeah, there were 2 problems with that play. Even if that ball was touched by Farouk, I think that challenge would have gotten overturned anyway because he was not shoved into him. So all that, Maryland's back on offense.
Let's just say it's a punt of 51 yards. Maryland's back on offense. 6.5 minutes to go in the second quarter. Terps up 14-0. Malik Washington takes a snap, play action, instead rolls right, looking deep for Octavian Smith Jr., a diving catch, and he hauls it in. Right ahead of the 50-yard line, they'll call it a gain of 18 for Octavian Smith Jr. Another big play to the senior wide receiver from Burtonsville, Maryland, sets up another Maryland first down.
I love this play design. You put the tight end out in the flat. Aquan runs a wheel route, takes out the linebacker, and a great throw from Malik.
First and 10 for Maryland's 49. 2 receivers to left. Washington takes a snap, looks left, now rolls right. In motion, will go short to Nolan Ray. It's behind him and incomplete. Christian Allegro is in the coverage. It's 2nd and 10 for the Terps.
Just trying to throw it back into the middle with Ray, who had some space if he caught it, but from Malik there, just take off and run. I know he's the leading passer all time in Maryland high school history, but sometimes you have to use your legs there. He wouldn't have gotten a lot of yards, but he could have gotten 5 and got out of bounds instead. 2nd and 10.
Washington, the true freshman quarterback from Archbishop Spalding up in Glen Burnie. 3-time MIAA state champion as well. 2nd and 10 for Maryland's 49. Takes a snap, it's a handoff on the right side to Ray. He bounces it out past the 50, nearing the 45-yard line of Wisconsin. It's about half that he needed on 2nd down. Sets up a 3rd and manageable, now on Wisconsin's side of the field. For Ray, that's now a 4th carry for 14 yards. He's with DeJuan Williams, who has 6 carries for 30 yards. 3rd and 5 for Maryland at Wisconsin's 45-yard line. Terps up 2 touchdowns. Washington will go back and call a new play with his veteran center, Michael Hershey. Washington says Hershey's the reason this offense can move so fast. Leon Houghton, the game captain, also on the line now for Washington. Washington takes a snap, looks left, fires across the middle, and it's caught for a first down with the Terps. Give it to Caleb Webb near the 26-yard line. It's a gain of nearly 20 yards and another Terps first down.
Just a really nice route ran by Webb. It's just an in, and I don't know if he was even expecting that ball. Made a great adjustment coming back to it, putting the squeeze on it, and it moves the chains.
Call it a gain of 18. Washington Now 9 for 17 with 82 passing yards. He's got an empty backfield for the first time today. 3 receivers to the right. Washington takes a snap, looks across the middle, and it's incomplete. A dangerous pass intended for Leon Houghton Jr. It was the safety there for Wisconsin in coverage. It looked like Matt Jung for a moment. Could have had an easy interception.
Yeah, Matt Young, a great story in itself that we can talk about later, but this is a really tough throw, trying to thread the needle between the safeties. Not able to get done there, but not a bad miss, a good miss. It just falls to the ground.
He would have had an easy interception like Jalen Husky had for Maryland in the first quarter. 2nd and 10 for the Terps at Wisconsin's 27-yard line following the incomplete pass. Receiver each side for Washington. He takes a snap and instead just hands it to Nolan Wright. He's stuffed way behind the line of scrimmage. Wisconsin got to him, and they got to him in a hurry. Darrell Peterson III, the first Badger in on it. The graduate edge from Akron, Ohio, makes it now a 3rd and 14 for the Terps, who are up 14-0 with 4 minutes and change to go until halftime. Decision time for Pep Hamilton and this Maryland offense. Daniel with the ball at Wisconsin's 31-yard line. Needed 14 yards to try and make this an easier field goal.
You got to get at least 7 here. That's what I'm looking at.
Right now set up for a 48-yard plus field goal. We'll see what Maryland has on 3rd and 14. 2 receivers to the right, Caleb Webb alone to the left. Washington takes a snap, looks to the right, fires across, and it's incomplete. Could have been an interception. Looked like it was sensational cornerback Ricardo Holman, 2 years removed from being AP 13 All-American. He would have had an easy pick as the throw was behind the receiver there. Instead, it sets up a punt for Maryland and Bryce McPherson. Instead, at the last second, they're going to bring out the field goal kicker. Here's a test for the Richmond transfer and Sean O'Hare. Kildare, Ireland native, has a 49-yarder so far this year. His longest is from this distance. Snap is off, hold is good, the kick is up, end over end, and it is good. Sean O'Hare ties his season high with a 49-yarder, his first field goal make on his first attempt in this Big Ten opener. Makes it 17-0 Maryland with 3 minutes, 38 seconds left to go in the second quarter. We're here at Camp Randall Stadium in Madison, Wisconsin, and we'll pick it up in just a moment on WMUC Sports. Back at Camp Randall Stadium in Madison, Wisconsin. second oldest venue for college football actively in the country. Field dates back all the way back to 1917 here at Barry Alvarez Field at Camp Randall. Maryland Terrapins up 17-0 over the Wisconsin Badgers in the 2025 Big Ten opener. Back alongside Daniel Stein, I'm Ryan Martin here with you, and so glad you can be with us on WMUC Sports. 17-0 lead for the Terps following the Sean O'Hare 49-yard field goal. Philip Noyes back to kick off left to right for Maryland. Still pitching the shutout on the road. Noyes' kick is off and good right to the edge of the goal line, where it'll be Tyrell Henry who takes it out. Past the 10, now the 15, 20, near the 25, but he's stuffed before he can get any farther. Good tackle made there by Carlton Smith with 3 minutes, 33 seconds left to go until halftime. And Daniel, this is a Wisconsin team that played number 19 Alabama. They were down in Tuscaloosa last week. Alabama goes up 28-0 at halftime. But now for the second consecutive week, Wisconsin might have a 0 on the scoreboard by halftime.
Yeah, they're just running into an unfortunate pattern with O'Neal as the QB. The offense just hasn't really been able to run. And I say that because Billy Edwards only played a quarter against Miami, Ohio, and that team, Wisconsin team, only put up a couple of touchdowns against him. One of them was almost a pick six. So this offense just still trying to get going.
First down, O'Neal takes a snap, hands it off to the running back Dupree, bounces it off to the right side, and is tackled down by Lakai Rowland before the 30-yard line. It's a gain of 3, sets up 2nd and 7 for Wisconsin from its own 28, with 3 minutes and change to go until halftime. You mentioned Billy Edwards, the starter all season a year ago for Maryland, makes that in-conference transfer to Wisconsin. He played a little bit in that season opener. Today we only see him go 1 for 3. Did have that 45-yard completion. Here's a 2nd and 7. In formation with Dupree behind O'Neal, who takes a snap, hands it over to Dupree. Tries to bounce to the right side, but is stuffed before the line of scrimmage. Zahir Mathis gets to him. And it's a sensational 6'6" freshman from Philadelphia. Makes it a 3rd and long for Wisconsin.
It's a couple of young ball players going at it, and Dupree just saw Mathis coming. He just said, I better just get down. Sets up another 3rd and long-ish here for Wisco. 3rd and 8. This is what Maryland is really comfortable with, making Wisconsin have to work for it here on 3rd.
3rd and 8 from Wisconsin's 27-yard line. The Badgers today just a poor 1 for 7 on 3rd downs. 2 receivers to the right, Jaden Ballard alone to the left, and Dupree at O'Neal's right hip. O'Neal takes a snap, has time. Looking right, firing right. He has got a catch from his tight end, Lance Mason, but he's tackled down before the line to gain. Daniel Wingate, the linebacker in coverage there on the big tight end. And surprise, surprise, it's Atticus Bertram's out again. Wisconsin fans have seen their punter too much in this first half, but he's getting ready for another punt right as the 2-minute warning hits.
Yeah, this has just been a really solid showing so far from the Terps. And this is what I think the concern was for Wisconsin, because with Billy Edwards, you have an experienced quarterback playing against his former team. He understands how Mike Loxley is going to coach things. Even with a different OC, you're going to have a good idea of how this defense plays. You have O'Neal in there, everything is just different. The confidence level in the offense seems to go down, and they just haven't really trusted O'Neal to throw far down the field. On 3rd down and 8, you should not be throwing a check down to your tight end unless he is wide open. That was good protection too. O'Neal just couldn't find anything and had to check it down. So on the other side of the warning, I mean, I'd be shocked if they go for it here. So deep into their own territory at the 32. I guess stranger things have probably happened, but you really just don't want to see Bertram's on the field here if you're a Wisconsin fan.
Yeah, under 2 minutes left in this TV timeout, so we'll keep it right here on WMUC Sports, your special no-break action right here at the 2-minute warning. 17-0 Maryland. Daniel, let's look at it from the Badger perspective for a moment. You know, these fans at Camp Randall coming off that just easy loss to Alabama. The Crimson Tide were in control the whole time. So Luke Fickell goes now 0-7 against ranked teams, 15-14 overall in his 3rd season. There's going to be some boos here at Camp Randall when Wisconsin comes off of the field, especially if there's a punt here and there's another donut on the scoreboard. This is a Wisconsin team that in Big Ten play maybe not has had as many struggles as Maryland did last year, going 1-8 in Big Ten play. But Wisconsin fans can't be happy with this result so far.
I think it's also tough because Wisconsin is so used to a certain identity on offense. They're going to be really good in the trenches. They're going to have really talented running backs. They're going to run the ball well. Well, they really only have one of those things. The trenches have not been as good as they would have hoped for. They have a really talented running back room. It's a young room, but it's a good running back room. But I think so far what we've seen from my standpoint has been there's been an over-reliance on trickery. It worked early on in the game. Since then, they've had to slow things down for O'Neal, and it just hasn't worked. That's the most plain way to say it.
That rushing game for Wisconsin, who came into this game poor. 136 yards per game was the 4th fewest in the Big Ten. So far today, the Badgers have ran it 20 times for just 31 yards. That's an average of 1.6 yards per carry. Maryland 17, Wisconsin 0. Terps have put on 10 points in the second quarter after a Malik Washington rushing touchdown was the only score in the opening frame. 2 minutes exactly left to go until the halftime break is upon us. It's Atticus Bertram's on for his 5th punt. He'll be going back to Jaleel Farouk. Last time we were here, a lot of dramatics on the punt. Maryland already has 1 punt block today. Snap is off to Bertram's. His punt is off. It's a good one. It puts Farouk back towards the left side, and he catches it at the 16-yard line. Did not call for a fair catch. And again on special teams, Jayden Ballard makes a big play. He tackles Farouk on the far side the moment the Oklahoma transfer brings in the punt. It's going to be 1st and 10 for Maryland at its own 15-yard line.
Yeah, that's one you just got to call a fair catch on.
Yeah.
I mean, this was a good punt from Bertram's, and we're waiting to see how long that one was. That was probably about 50 yards or so.
Right there, 53.
53 yards, and Farouk, he wasn't the main return guy coming into it. They had Ricardo Cooper back there. They had Josiah McLaurin back there. Now they've gone to Jaleel. I mean, the good thing is he just held on to the ball here. So if you're Washington in the offense, you got to go 85 yards, but they've done so before in this game.
It's a Terps team that has the ball, has a 17-point lead with 1:52 left to go in the second quarter, and we'll get ball after halftime. 2 receivers to the right for Washington. He takes the snap, hands it over to Williams. He cuts over to the left side. He's got 2 or 3 Badgers in his face, though, before he can get past the line of scrimmage.
They get a stoppage here. Timeout was used. Not sure which coach called it.
Goes to a loss of 3 for Maryland. 2nd and 13 from the Terps' 12-yard line. 1:44 left to go until halftime. Still waiting to update it as Maryland now breaks the huddle.
Number 15, the defense helping team off during play. Under 2 minutes, this is a 10-second subtraction. However, Maryland has declined. Clock will start on the snap. Second down.
So that's what the awkward start was. It goes as a penalty against Wisconsin. Maryland declines the 10-second runoff, though. 2nd and 13. Knotts and Octavian Smith to the left, and it's at the right of Williams. Washington takes the snap, looks for DeJuan Williams, instead throws it behind him. It goes incomplete. Maybe if that ball was a foot more off the ground, it would be a pick 6 for Christian Allegro in Wisconsin. Instead, just an incomplete pass for Washington. Now 3rd and 13 for Maryland 12.
Yeah, no free rushers for Wisconsin on that last drop back, but Alan Haran really got pushed back, and it forced Washington to throw off his back foot. So now it's 3rd and 13. I would guess that this is just going to be a run here to at least induce a timeout.
Both teams have all 3 timeouts. 3rd and 13. They backed up to Maryland's 12-yard line. 1:40 left to go till halftime. Empty backfield for Washington, who takes the snap, looks right, has Farouk on the completion. Good block as well by Smith. He cuts it up to the 20, near the 22-yard line. Before he is tackled inbounds, the clock will continue to run. Luke Fickle calls a timeout with 90 seconds exactly left until halftime, and a 4th and 3 upcoming for the Terps.
For the time being, the offense is still out on the field. I think they're going to pull them. That's one of those plays where too close now to make it kind of sting. The fact that Farouk actually made a pretty good play there, picked up 10 yards, still leaves 4th and 3. Now you're kind of kicking yourself because if Williams doesn't go backward on 1st down, it might be able to move the chains. But you can't really play that game here up 17-0.
We'll keep it right here on WMUC Sports from Camp Randall Stadium in Madison, Wisconsin. A 17-0 lead for Maryland over the Badgers. 90 seconds left to go in the first half after that 30-second timeout by Wisconsin. Daniel, so far, in what is likely his final pass attempt of the first half, Malik Washington now 10 for 21, 110 yards, and that 9-yard touchdown to Shalik Nuns.
Yeah, I think the accuracy has shown some inconsistency, but overall, he's played a clean first half, didn't give it away, 2 touchdowns, can't be too bad with it.
Do it, punts off for Bryce McPherson. It's a shallow one, fair catch called for by Henry. He grabs it at the 38-yard line for the Badgers. Got one more chance, 1:24 left to go in the first half. A 17-0 Maryland lead. These home fans at Camp Randall Stadium want something to cheer about before the halftime break. We'll have the remainder of the first half coming up next on WMUC Sports. So here's Danny O'Neill and the Wisconsin offense back out. 17-0 Maryland, 84 seconds left to go in the first half. 3 receivers to O'Neill's right. He's got Dupree as the running back to the left. He takes a snap, facing pressure, steps up into the pocket, will scramble for as many yards as he can get, and then he's taken down. That's an easier flag on the play against Trey Reddick and the Maryland defense. O'Neill went for a slide. A couple of Terps converged on the scrambling quarterback. And that penalty should go as unnecessary roughness on Trey Reddick. Daniel Wingate, the Maryland linebacker, is also slow to get up.
Yeah, Trey Reddick has not played the smartest game. That roughing the passer penalty, I think, is more of a, you can kind of give it to him on that one, but this is just a foolish play. You go in with the head first, with O'Neill sliding. You also have Wingate there. He's not going to go through both of them, and Wingate's going to come out of this game now.
Let's listen into Francisco Villar.
Play. Personal foul. Late hit. Late hit number 3 Lucas. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down. And off the start on the snap.
You hear the call by Villar. It moves the ball up to a 1st and 10 for Wisconsin at Maryland's 44-yard line. 1:17 left in the first half. O'Neill will take the snap, has 3 receivers to the right. Being forced out to the right side, Ian Thomas chases him nearing the sideline. Instead throws it in bounds, where it is completed. Catch caught by his tight end, Lance Mason. Instead, they'll say Mason's left foot goes out of bounds. It's a 2nd and 10 for Wisconsin, again at Maryland's 44.
I'm really surprised they didn't review that play for targeting. I think if you're Trey Reddick, you're kind of lucky to still be in this game here. Wingate's still off the field. 2nd down and 10, just over a minute left. Wisco's got good field position here. You got to hunker down here if you're the Terps. You got to remember your big middle linebacker in the middle is not on the field.
2nd and 10. O'Neill takes a snap, 3 receivers to the right, has time, fires to the right side, it's wide open. It's a clean no. It's a gain of about 7 or 8 yards before he's tackled down by a couple of Terps.
Oh boy.
On the play, it's another injured Terrapin down on the field.
That did not look good.
That's made by Trutch Tegahuna, and they're going to have an injury timeout. We'll get a name to the number when we can for Maryland. 58 seconds left to go in the 2nd quarter. The Maryland defensive lineman, it's all hands on deck with the athletics training staff. We'll give you an update, wish them the best. 17-0 Terps, less than minutes of play until halftime against Wisconsin. Be right back. So back at Camp Randall Stadium with 58 seconds left to go in the 2nd quarter, a 17-0 Maryland lead. A large applause from the Wisconsin faithful here as Nazir Taylor gets up to his feet, the reserve defensive lineman who's been that rotational player at the defensive spot. Daniel, it's good to see him walking off in his own power.
Yeah, that did not look good, and Taylor's a true freshman who's gotten a significant amount of reps on this defensive line. This is kind of what you, not necessarily a consequence, but this can happen when these linebackers are as sideline to sideline as they are. On the bright side for the Terps, Daniel Wingate is back in the game here, but Wisco is threatening here at the 35.
Here are the Badgers on a 3rd and 1, 58 seconds left to go. Ballard and Acuno to the left side. Handoff instead to the linebacker, or to the running back in Dupree. He's stuffed before he can get back to the line of gain though. Cam Rice in on the tackle, his first of the day. Sets up his decision time for Luke Fickle. It's a 4th and 1 as the clock continues to run under 40 seconds from Maryland's 37-yard line.
I think this is an easy decision. If I were Fickle, I'd use a timeout here because now the clock's just running down.
It is not a 4th and 3, 30 seconds left to go. Finally, Fickle calls a timeout. We'll see if they add any time on the clock. Wisconsin Badgers. It's faithful here back in camp. Randall make their feelings known about Fickle calling a timeout after about 10 seconds ran off the clock. 4th and 3 for the Badgers at Maryland's 37-yard line. 32 seconds separate us and halftime.
Yeah, I don't blame these fans one bit. It's just not good clock management. I mean, that was an easy decision for Fickle to go for it. You're not kicking a field goal from here. Punting is just not an option at this point. It's certain you're going for it. You have to make the decision whether to take the timeout or not. And the fact that they let 10 seconds run off the clock, they're at the 37, they have time, they have another timeout. It's not that big of a deal, but it's just been indicative of what this offense has done, or the lack of things that they've done in this game.
Look at a 55-yarder for Nathan Bakos, senior's career long, 53 yards so far in his 3rd year start. Instead of 4th and 3, 3 receivers to the right. O'Neal takes a snap, rolls to his right. Will make a defender miss, scramble ahead, and he's got the first down, it looks like. Another timeout called, the final one in the first half for Wisconsin. Comes to 25 seconds left to go on the clock. Check the spot, but should be a Badger first down.
I'm not sure about that. You see where the referee came walking down towards the field. He marked him like half a yard short. Maryland's defense looks pretty fired up. So if they turn this ball over, which they did, the timeout's going to be taken back.
I stand corrected. It's a half-yard short, and Wisconsin's defense takes the field with 25 seconds to go in the first half. In all likelihoods, Maryland on a 1st and 10 from its own 35-yard line. We're just running it out a few times as Nolan Ray dots the eye in the backfield. A 17-0 Maryland lead. The Terrapins have proven a lot so far in the first 30 minutes. Final plays of the first half. Receiver on each side. Malik Washington under center. Washington takes a snap from Hershey. Said play actions to the left side. He's looking deep. He's got Octavian Smith on a long ball. It is caught. Smith catches it near the 15-yard line. A long completion from Malik Washington. Timeout called by the Terps with 18 seconds left in the second quarter. Washington to Smith. And Smith is now slow to get up with the ball near Wisconsin's 15-yard line.
I think Ock is okay. Maybe just got the wind taken out of him there. Waiting to see how long officially that throw was. I love the idea from Pep. I mean, it's aggressive, but it worked.
A 51-yard completion from Malik Washington to Octavian Smith Jr. That's been the connection so far this year. Washington had a 53-yard completion to Smith last week, now a 51-yarder to his favorite target from Burtonsville, Maryland. Now all of a sudden you think maybe Maryland's going to feel it out, take a couple of rushes with Nolan Ray to end the half. Pep Hamilton says not so fast.
I love this play call. They come out in the eye, and you have 2 tight ends. This has just run right up the middle, written all over it. Instead they run a play action, just run a little deep post towards the far side, and Washington hits him. This ball is a little bit in front of him, but Ock, not a guy who catches those deep passes, usually makes a nice adjustment.
I thought O'Neal could be a play, even with that ball back so far up onto Maryland's side of the field, following the turnover on downs. Instead, how about this confidence? How about ensuring that these fans will have some choice words for Wisconsin and Luke Fickle entering halftime? 1st and 10. 3 receivers to the right side. Ball at Wisconsin's 17-yard line. Washington takes a snap, looks right, fires end zone for Shalik Knotts, and that ball is just out of bounds, incomplete. It was Knotts with good coverage there on the play by Wisconsin's Ricardo Holman.
It's a good overthrow from Malik here. You really want to make sure you don't get this ball picked off with 3 points still in your back pocket. It's just a little stop and go. Hallman reads it really well. Good coverage. It would have been had to been a perfect ball. Knotts couldn't make the play.
Correct that as well. It was a 48-yard completion from Washington to Octavian Smith Jr. 2nd and 10 for Maryland. Ball at Wisconsin's 17-yard line with 13 seconds to go. Smith's back in the game. He's in motion from right to left. Raise the backfield. Washington takes a snap, fires across the middle to Knotts. He catches it at the 15, scampers past the 10, and near the 5-yard line is where he's tackled down with 7 seconds left to go. Ball at the 12-yard line, and a timeout called easily by Mike Loxley. Second one used by the Terps.
Yeah, this puts it at an interesting spot right now. You have 1 timeout left, 7 seconds. I think you have just enough time for a shot at the end zone, but I'm not sure if it's necessary at this point. You're already up by 3 scores.
8-yard completion to Shalik Knotts. He now has 2 catches for 18 yards. How about Octavian Smith Jr.? In this first half alone, 5 catches, 112 yards. Had that 48-yarder a couple of plays ago. It looks like Maryland might go with one more shot. 7 seconds left in the first half here at Camp Randall Stadium. Ball on the left hash at Wisconsin's 8-yard line for a 3rd and 1 for Maryland. Fleming near the line, next to the left tackle, Latrell Perry. He's got Octavian Smith to his left. Jaleel Farouk in motion from left to right. Washington takes his snap, 3-step drop back, looks end zone, and it's incomplete in the direction of Dorian Fleming. Now 2 seconds left on the first half clock. On a 4th and 1, this one's easy. It's the Kildare, Ireland native Sean O'Hare trotting out.
Yeah, just no harm, no foul there. Fleming wouldn't have scored on that play anyway, even if he caught it. Washington just throws it out of bounds. Now you get a pretty easy field goal here for O'Hare to try to put you up, still by 3 scores, but put you up by 20.
Here is the kicker, O'Hare. Easier one, a 26-yarder. He's 1 for 1 today with a 49-yard make. Final 2 seconds left in this first half clock. Snap is off, hold is down and good. The kick is up, and it is good for Sean O'Hare as the first half clock expires. Maryland scores the first 20 points in this game. Camp Randall, Wisconsin Badger fans don't love to see it. Last 2 games for Wisconsin, the Badgers have been outscored in the first half 48-0. That's the big stat here in the Big Ten opener. Maryland up 20-0. We'll be right back after halftime at Camp Randall Stadium in Madison, Wisconsin. We're listening to Maryland football on WNBC Sports.
big stuff's going to hold off until late this afternoon or this evening. You are welcome. Have a great afternoon, everyone. On Wisconsin.
Watch out, Junior! Coming in!
Beginning of the second half here from Camp Randall Stadium. All Maryland so far through 2 quarters. 20-0 Terps is where our score stands, with the Badgers handing it back to Malik Washington to start off the second half. Thanks so much for joining us here on WMUC Sports. Daniel Stein alongside my partner Ryan Martin, and we'd like to welcome on our sideline reporter Adam Littman as we get the second half started. So Adam, this has been a very different Terps team than I think a lot of people expected, but your word for the Terps offense on the sideline has been focused.
Maryland looks focused, present, and ready to go in this game. This is not a team that's trying to force enthusiasm. This is not a team that's going to mope when there are mistakes made. They've had a lot of opportunities handed to them by Wisconsin blunders, and they're making the most of it. We're seeing Malik Washington maximizing this receiving core. Entering this game, like Loxley said, this Big Ten road game will really be a test, like who are we as a team? We're seeing right now, this Shalik Knox breakout is very real, Dan.
Knox with a touchdown, but it really has been a domination on all 3 sides of the ball as we get ready to kick it away. As as that ball is far into the end zone. Iverson Howard was back deep for the Terps. But Adam, what have you seen on the sidelines from the Terps other than offense as a little scrum has broken out here? The emotion on the sidelines for Maryland and for Wisconsin very different from each other.
Wisconsin right now look like they do not have a leader. Right now, Danny O'Neill came into this game after Billy Edwards Jr. exited in the first quarter, and they just seem out of sync. There have been multiple blunders, and right now, Daniel, I think they're playing angry. There have been some costly penalties that look like they're trying too hard to create something offensively, and instead they're just giving Maryland more opportunities to score.
Should be very interesting to see what happens. Thanks so much, Adam. We'll let him get back to the sidelines. Well, we get our first look at the Terps offense here in the third quarter. Malik Washington starts with it. 2 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. DeJuan Williams in the backfield. Handoff inside zone, cutting through goes DeJuan. He gets up to the 29, gain of 4.
What's really interesting to me so far, Daniel, after we heard that great report from Adam Lippman, you go back to Maryland's side, the rushing attack's been really interesting. Again, trying to see where the carry disparity is. That's now 8 catches for DeJuan Williams for 32 yards. Just half of that, 4 carries for Nolan Ray. He has 11 rushing yards.
2nd and 5, 3 receivers, 2 on the left, 1 on the right. Washington hands it off to Williams again. He navigates, gets back to the line, breaks a tackle, and gets minimal gain. They'll set up 3rd down here. 3rd down and medium now for the Terps, as the Badgers defense much more prepared on 2nd than for 1st.
And to keep going off that point too, is Nolan Ray was that second-hand guy to Roman Hemby last year. Right now, Hemby makes the transfer from Indiana. So you think the Michigan native Nolan Ray would be the guy? Instead, it's DeJuan Williams, the redshirt freshman from Baltimore. He's a St. Francis guy. Looks like he's being the bulk of Maryland's RB1.
So 3rd and 5, this Camp Randall crowd has been disapproving, but they're still here. Octavian Smith goes in motion, empty set for Washington. He throws underneath, it's tipped at the line. He had DeJuan Williams open on an angle route, couldn't find him. Maryland will punt. So with 3 and out, Badgers get the stop they need here, looking to mount a comeback. It'll be Bryce McPherson to punt it away. Tyrell Henry back deep for the Badgers. Ball is spotted at the 30. So a free rusher for Wisconsin, but Bryce got it away. Good punt. It'll be received at the 18. Henry gets a couple of lanes, makes a man miss. He's still going at the 40. Now up to the 50-yard line where McPherson's able to drag him out of bounds at the Maryland 48. Great return for Tyrell Henry. He pumps up this crowd here at Camp Randall. There's an injured player on the field at the 35, or the 25 I should say. It's a Terp. We'll work to identify him as the Wisconsin offense will come out for the first time here in the second half. Get an injury timeout potentially, as it looks to be a right leg injury for whoever it is. Wisconsin's huddle is ready to be broken. Well, they're still tending to the Terp. While we're here, we'll take a quick break here as the Maryland trainers tend to the injured player. We'll be right back here with the rest of the third quarter just getting underway here at T Sports. Wisconsin with great field position as they start their first series of the second half. The injured player, Ryan, DJ Samuel, is a big piece.
Yeah, he is, Daniel. Someone who's really seen both sides of the field. He's a game captain this week, along with Leon Houghton Jr. And he's someone who's been really big for Maryland on special teams. And talking about injuries, Billy Edwards Jr., the former Maryland quarterback just a year ago, tried to start this game. He went 1 for 3 on a very small sample size. He took the shoulder pads off during halftime. This is Danny O'Neill's game to finish.
So he still has his jersey on, but the game is in the hands here of Danny O'Neill, the Wisconsin backup, who in this game has not been fantastic. 5 of 10, 50 yards, no touchdowns, and a pick. He starts here with his offense at the 47. Shotgun set, 2 receivers on each side. Running back in the backfield, Demarion Dupree. O'Neal steps back, takes the snap, throws over the middle. That's caught. The first time we get Chris Brooks in the game. The redshirt junior from St. Louis, Missouri, picks up enough to move the chains.
And just Brooks' 4th catch of the year. He's a guy who, when you put guys on Ballard, Kikahuna, Brooks can sometimes get open in the slot.
A guy who's really getting his first action in the full offense. He was mostly a special teamer. He missed last season with injury. Pistol set, quick snap. Dupree up the middle, navigates. Big hole for the redshirt freshman. He's got about 8 yards. And Wisconsin, whole different offense here as the sophomore Dupree brought down by Scruggs at the 28.
I think that's the patience that we've been missing out of, honestly, both of these running games so far. Maryland just with 44 rushing yards, and even with that, Wisco up to just 41. I like how Dupree waited a second, then took the gap to the left, where he now has a team-high 22 rushing yards.
Ball is placed at the 28, still 20-0 Maryland early in this third quarter. O'Neal under center with Dupree in the backfield, a couple of tight ends and a receiver. Little end around. It's going to be a throw from the receiver. It goes over his head, and it's nearly picked off. That was Tyrell Henry who came around and threw it to the end zone. He was looking for Eugene Hilton Jr., the freshman, but he couldn't find him, overthrew him, and it falls incomplete.
Grimes is trying everything out of the playbook. He's going back to Pop Warner football, it looks like, for a little bit of inspiration. Fakes the end around, then fakes the counter to the running back. Tries to then get a post corner route that works. It looked like it could have been Messiah Delhomme, the first one to it for Maryland. It would have been O'Neal's second pick.
3rd down and 3 from the 28. Shotgun set for O'Neal. He'll put Dupree in motion. It's a fake jet sweep. O'Neal up the middle. He's got the first down and more. He's met at the 19. Wisconsin moves the chains again. Just looking to get on the board for the first time. O'Neal fired up as he walks over to the 10 and tries to get the crowd into it here. Brought down by Delhomme at the 19.
Yeah, you're watching some of the last 2 games that Danny O'Neal has started, and you'll hear everyone say he's not the biggest guy, doesn't have the biggest arm at just 6 foot, 195 pounds. Moxie is the word that Luke Fickell and this Wisconsin team used to describe what O'Neal brings. It's kind of plays like that where he's not afraid to put the shoulder in, even at the QB position. 1st
down and 10 for the 19. Pistol set. Mason in motion. Handoff. Dupree works through the first level and is brought down at the 15. Be a short gain for the sophomore from Chicago. Such a talented running back room. A couple of 4-stars. You got Dylan Jones. Demarion Dupree comes from Mount Carmel High School, one of the best high schools in the Chicago area, just to name a few NFL players who have come out of Mount Carmel. Donovan McNabb, the Syracuse product. Simeon Rice, the great pass rusher for the Buccaneers in the early 2000s. It's a program that just consistently churns out great players, and Dupree is one of them. 2nd down and 10 from the 15. Under center is O'Neal with the receiver on each side. Now the one on the right comes in motion. Fake jet sweep, handoff. Dupree leveled at the line. It's going to be a loss. It's Dylan Fontes that got in there. And it's going to set up 3rd down and long here for Wisconsin. As great pursuit. There are a couple of Terps there to get Dupree in the backfield. Big 3rd down coming up here. Just given that this game is 20-0, you wonder if this is 4-down territory, depending on how much the Badgers get here on 3rd.
Or with so much pressure again after the thumping against Alabama last week. Still the 0 up against a Maryland team that you were favored by 10 points. Does Wisconsin just take any points and get with a field goal? Let's wait to see what happens on 3rd down.
3rd and 7, O'Neal looks the pass. He looks left, still looking, faces the pressure, rolls out, throws, it's incomplete. Good coverage. And Consistent pressure again for the Terps. Lakai Roland was in coverage. He was looking for Kekahuna, couldn't find him. Wisconsin will just take the points here and send out Vacos for another field goal try.
I think this is the right move, Daniel. Again, this game is still within 3 scores, and for a Wisconsin team that's gone so late into games recently without scoring, you got to see some kind of points in the board.
So a field goal of inside 30 yards here. Vacos' kick is up and good. So Wisconsin gets on the board. You can hear it here in Camp Randall, 20-3, as the Badgers are able to lead a drive, fueled by that big return from Tyrell Henry. 33-yard field goal is good. Wisconsin goes 31 yards in 8 plays, just under 3.5 minutes. We'll step aside here with the media timeout. Still Terps on top here by 17 with 10 minutes to go in the third. Joan Jett playing here at Camp Randall, as Wisconsin now has something to cheer about, getting a 33-yard field goal on their last drive. They'll kick it back away here. Maryland still up in this game 20-3. Just joining us, the Terps had a really dominant showing in the first half, shutting out the Badgers. They went 3 and out on their first drive in the third, and a really good punt return propelled the Badgers to that successful drive.
Yeah, I think that's the best offensive drive we've seen today out of Wisconsin. A team that's looked flat, honestly, coming off of that loss to Alabama. This is a Wisconsin team that has a really tough Big Ten schedule. They haven't started it easily against Maryland. See what that drive can do for the Badgers, or if Maryland can get back into the drivers.
The senior Vacos to kick it away. Iverson Howard back deep. We'll just let it go into the end zone for a touchback. So we'll get our second look at the Terps offense in the second half. Malik Washington so far up to today, 12 for 26, 167 yards, 1 touchdown. He's completed less than 50% of the passes. There's just been a decent amount of missed throws. Some of that has been on the receivers. There's been some drops as well. But for the Terps here, you just want to keep your foot on the gas as they get ready for their next series. This one will start at the 25. Under center is Malik. He's got 1 receiver to his left and 1 to his right. Octavian Smith on the right side, Caleb Webb on the left. Nolan Ray is the back with a couple of tight ends at the hips of the tackles. Washington takes the snap, play action. He's got a man in the flat and he finds him, except he doesn't. It is another drop, as Leon Houghton would have had at least 7 yards there. Couldn't corral it in 2nd and 10.
It would have just been his 2nd catch of the season and 4th in the last 2 years for Houghton Jr. But this is what Loxley's talked about so far. In a game where you start off 20-0, Daniel, we won't talk about it a lot, but these mentioned before, especially drops, that there's a different expectation this year. A lot of these teams, right, the new world of NIL, you're paying guys to do a job. There's no more room for cutting people slack and saying, okay, you can drop it, we'll develop you. No, this is a job. You gotta act differently with the job, Loxley says.
Second down and 10. Ray is the back. Caleb Webb motions in from the left side. Washington, short pass, dropped again. I mean, how many times is he gonna put it on the receiver's hands for them to not haul it in? That one was intended for Ray, and it's 3rd and 10.
That time it's Ray just doing it out of the backfield. He had a couple of Badgers to his back. I don't know how much that would have gained anyways. I think he'd still be in the 3rd and long. This is momentum killers for the Terps.
6 Maryland drops, and Camp Randall is starting to get loud. 3rd down and 10. Washington under center. The 2 receivers on the right, 1 on the left. Claps his hands. Washington feels the pressure, steps up, moves out of a tackler, now is brought down. The Badgers finally get to him, and it's Mason Rieger. You're waiting to call his name, and the Louisville transfer forces Washington's first sack as a Maryland Terrapin.
Yeah, that's a great point. The first time Washington's been sacked, it comes late into the stages of game 3. That shows me what the offensive line said differently. Also, I don't love the decision by Washington. He kind of ran into the edge rusher on the left side.
Doesn't help when 2 drops made it 3rd and 10. Good punt from McPherson here. See if the Terps can have better punt coverage. They do. Henry is walloped at the 37. Nice work there from the Maryland punt return coverage team. And so Wisconsin will set out again on offense. Ricardo Cooper, oftentimes he's on the other end of those plays making the return, but that time does a good job in coverage. And the Badgers offense will just try to build on this momentum.
What we've seen from both teams' return men, Jaden Ballard and Ricardo Cooper, they're getting the opportunity to chase down guys as part of the punt unit and not making a mistake there. That's an emphatic tackle for Cooper.
1st down and 10, ball spotted at the 39. Still good field position here for the Badgers. They pistol set Cade Yakimelli in the backfield with a receiver on each side. Maryland shows blitz. 1st down, O'Neal drops back, throws. Check down is there. Husky was trying to rip that ball out. It's caught by Lance Mason. The pickup of about 7.
Fun story with Mason too. We've seen him well utilized now as that's his 4th catch, but he's replacing a room that in the spring had Tanner Koziel. That's a transfer from Ball State who, talk about football in 2025, was only here for the spring. Then in the fall he transfers to Houston, and right now he's got the 2nd most receptions by a power conference tight end. 2nd
down and 5, pistol again here for O'Neal. Handoff, first look at Cade Yakimelli this game. He's close to the sticks. It's going to set up 3rd down and 2. As Yakimelli, the redshirt junior from Trafford, Pennsylvania, picks up a short gain.
We've seen Yakimelli in the backfield a few times. Remember, he got the wildcat, then a toss to O'Neal before the incomplete pass. A guy who's a lot of game experience, been a starter for 4 years now, but really just crowded back room that he has to compete with Dupree and Jones.
3rd down and 3. This is Jackson Acker in the backfield. O'Neal keeps it. He's got the 1st down before he's wrapped up at the 47. A little speed option there works wonders for the Badgers. The Terps slow to get up. Moves the chains here. Still 20-3, 8 minutes to go. Clock is stopped. That's Ian Thomas who needs some medical attention. He's just going to walk off here.
Looks okay. He was also banged up a little bit in that Towson game, but boy, you want to talk about a transfer who's made their name known here at the end of September. Again, had a game of his career against Towson last week. With all due respect, that's Towson though. And then what he's done so far against Wisconsin is very impressive, including that 1st quarter field goal block.
A tackle for loss, half a sack, a forced fumble for Thomas. It's been a good couple of games here coming over from St. Francis. Here's 1st down and 10 for the Maryland 48. O'Neal in the shotgun, 2 receivers on each side. Yakimelli still the back. Terps bring a blitz. O'Neal, another option and a short gain. He's wrapped up by Sidney Stewart at the 48. 1-yard gain for O'Neal makes it 2nd and 9.
They had the shovel option right there. Yakimelli to his right, closer to the Maryland sideline. And this is a Wisconsin team that wants to run the ball under first-year offensive coordinator Jeff Grimes, but still can't. 30 attempts overall to just 62 yards.
Still haven't seen Dylan Jones since late in that second quarter. Yakimelli still the back, trips to the right. 2nd down and 9 out of the shotgun. O'Neal looks right, now steps up again. He's got a good run, makes a spin, and gets upended at the 45 as might have been Wingate who made that hit. Fontes was in the area as well, and it'll be 3rd down and 9. Fontes will check out. Pretty small to be playing on the D-line is Dylan Fontes, 6'6", 292. He's pretty limber, that's why they put him on special teams. He'll check out here. Bryce Jenkins in the game now for the Terps. 3rd and 7 at the Maryland 45. Tight end in motion. O'Neal with the hard count will step back up to the line. Big 3rd down here. Wisconsin in this game 3 for 12 on 3rd. Hard count, snap is bobbled. He just hands it off to Yakimelli, who goes the other way, and now they're going to blow the play dead.
Ball hit the ground before it got to Danny O'Neal. Again, it's the graduate center and Jake Renfro, who missed a little bit of action so far this year with injury, but really has not been on the same page for Wisconsin and Danny O'Neal. I'm not sure how much more patience head coach Luke Fickle can have in Renfro right now.
That is a big break for the Terps. It's a loss of down, 4th and 10. They're going to send out Bertrams to punt here. Jalil Farouk waits back, his feet at the 8-yard line. 4th down and 10. Bertrams with the punt. A clean protection. It's a line drive kick. Farouk just says don't touch it, and it rolls out of bounds around the 10-yard line. So Bertram's able to pin in the Terps here. And with 5:45 to go in this 3rd quarter, Terps offense has some work to do. Score hasn't changed much, just 3 points for Wisconsin in this 3rd quarter, but that's what we'll leave it here going to the break. 5:45 to go in this 3rd quarter. Terps still up big here on WMUC Sports. Terps offense getting back on the field. They're going to be pretty far pinned in at the 5. So from Malik Washington, just came into this game as one of 2 Big Ten QBs since 1996 to throw over 250 yards each of his first 3 games. The only other name, shout out to all of our Penn State fans, Christian Haberg did that back in 2013. But for the Terps offense today, just 167 yards from Malik. And they're going to have to go 95 yards if they want to add to their lead here. They start at the 5, and Camp Randall continues to be loud here. Shotgun set for the Terps, 3 receivers to the left, 1 to the right. DeJuan Williams is the back. Washington claps his hands, faces the pressure, throws out of the flat. This one is caught. Making its way up to the 10 is Williams. Set up second down and medium here. So good work by Malik, just getting a little bit extra breathing room. Ball be spotted at the 9, gain of 4.
And when we talked about Maryland's running game so far this season, Daniel, again, still no rushes past 17 yards. It's because Maryland feels like they're backed up a lot like this.
Second down and 6, Williams again. Plows forward to the 12. Set it at a gain of 3. Third down and 3 coming up here with just over 5 minutes to go. Maryland ahead 20-3 here. But the Terps offense has been held scoreless for 10 minutes, and the Badgers sideline is telling Camp Randall to make some noise. Terps need just 3 yards here to pick up the first down. What does Pep Hamilton have up his sleeve? Washington in the shotgun. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Big play coming up here. He motions in knots. Third down and 3. Washington takes the snap, feels the pressure. He's got good protection. He rolls out, just looking for the first down, and he is going to get it. Check the spot, see exactly where he was forced out. Actually, they're going to say he was short.
And he was short, Daniel, but I thought that could have also been a penalty on Maryland. It looked like on the right side, it was Alan Haran, who the right tackle, who Washington used as a blocker to get away from it. It looked like it was Haran who put a hold on Mason Reiger, but instead it's just a scramble for Washington, still not enough for a 4th and 3.
So the Terps needed 10 on that series. They only got 7. McPherson has to punt from inside his own end zone. The play is waved off before. Did somebody jump? Billy Edwards is out of the sideline.
Timeout.
Maryland just took a timeout. So Mike Loxley opts to burn one of his 3 timeouts instead of maybe getting a penalty there, as it didn't look like the Terps offense was set.
Should be just a 30-second timeout as the first timeout used in the second half for Maryland, but just an overall football fan perspective thing too. You brought up Billy Edwards Jr. being on the field. It's cool to see a gamer like that, a former Terp and a DMV guy who again was hurt in this game, so he couldn't really play that full revenge game against his former team. But after taking off those shoulder pads that we mentioned during halftime, Edwards has been another coach on the sideline, really trying to work with O'Neal in this Badger offense. That time even with the defense, he's trying to give out his 10 cents.
So McPherson will punt again. This will be his 7th punt of the game. Atticus Bertram's on the other side for Wisconsin at 6. These are the 2 punters that were used the most so far this season coming into the game. Wisconsin with pressure, McPherson able to get it away. Henry calls for a fair catch and makes it at about the 48-yard line of the Badgers. So once again, Wisconsin with really good field position here as they look to just get further back into this game. Henry still sharing some words with Daniel Wingate after making that catch. And we'll toss it to break here with under 4 minutes to go. Maryland still up by 17 here on WMUC Sports. Wisconsin offense back out on the field here. 3:58 to go in this third quarter, 20-3. Maryland ahead here. Only 3 points in the second half thus far. A field goal from Wisconsin. This Camp Randall crowd, it's hard not to be impressed with it. It's not at 100% capacity, but sure is probably around 90% or so. It's been really fun to just watch this environment interact with the players on the field and the sidelines.
Partner, it's been an honor to be part of that first WABC Sports Road broadcast for the 25-26 year. It's been an honor so far to be a station director with you, and this is what we do it for. To be in an environment like this, Big Ten college football, can it get any better?
First down and 10 from the 47. O'Neal hands it off. Dupree. A short gain as he's brought down close to midfield. They'll set up second down and long here, as the Terps are ready for that halfback sweep moving towards the left side. Second down and 7, pickup of 3, ball spotted at midfield. Terps defense in this game made a couple of splash plays early. They blocked a field goal. They intercepted Danny O'Neal. Jalen Husky grabbed that. Then they blocked a punt. Can Ted Monachino's defense make a play? Second down and 7 from the 50. Deep drop back for O'Neal. Feels the pressure, plenty of time. Now he escapes, throws out of the field. It is caught. Chris Brooks is close to the first down. I think he got it, and he does. Just nobody covered Brooks there. He makes his second catch of the game, moves the chains, ball spotted at the 43.
Yeah, I think one thing that Daniel O'Neal's done a good job for Wisconsin, Daniel, is when his tackles and Riley Mullman on the left side and Emerson Mandel on the right side, they're really collapsing early. He's not been afraid to step up in the pocket and try to deliver a pass like he did there.
His pocket presence much improved in the second half. Here's a fake jet sweep. O'Neal wanted the long ball. Pocket collapses now, and the Terps got him. Loss of about 2 or 3 or so, as a couple of Terrapins were in the backfield. Was able to sack O'Neal, as that was D.D. Holmes getting in there, among others. It goes to the loss of 3, second and 13.
Just as we say that, the ability to step up in the pocket, I guess Maryland hurt us too, and they used the big defensive lineman in Holmes. I think Bryce Jenkins got in there for half a sack too.
Anyone who's not superstitious, may I introduce you to the announcer's jinx. Here's second and 13, handoff. Dupree gets into the second level, breaks a tackle, still going. He's got the first down at the 29. Big gain for Demarion Dupree. Messiah Dello brings him down. Goes for a gain of 17 and a new set of downs for the Badgers.
Longest run of the day that we've seen for either team. That matches the longest run that Maryland's had all throughout the season. That's what Wisconsin needed, though, especially following the sack.
Big run for Dupree there. 17 yards, a new set of downs. Ball now at the 29. Dupree again, right up the middle on a halfback dive. He stood up at the 26. We'll go for a gain of 3. Second and 7 coming up. Final 90 seconds here this third quarter. Terps offense has been shut down here. Pretty similar to what we saw from Wisconsin in that first half. But Maryland is still ahead by 17. Wisconsin's threatening again. Should be a good finish here. Second and 6 from the 25. Yakimelli the backfield along with O'Neal. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. They motion the tight end out. Screen pass. Pass is caught. Kekahuna makes the catch. He's short of the first down. Tackled out of bounds near the 22. It's going to set up third down and short here in the final minute. They've been trying to get Tredge Kekahuna, the sophomore from Honolulu, involved. And apart from that play and the very start of the game, Terps have been aware of it. Big play coming up though, 3rd and 3 from the 22. Clock continues to run, now 25 seconds left. O'Neal motions Yakimelli next to him. Shotgun set. O'Neal fakes the handoff, just takes it himself, and the Terps are right there with it. That second effort, did he get the first? The line judge says no. And as the clock winds down in the third quarter here, a big decision is coming up here, and I think you know which way Luke Fickell would go with it. That's the whistle here, and the third quarter comes to an end. 4th and 1 will be on the other side of the break here. Don't go anywhere. We got a good one brewing here from Camp Randall. As it's time to jump around here, we'll let you tune in.
dating back to 1998 with House of Pain's Jump Around. It's here at Camp Randall Stadium in Madison, Wisconsin. 20-3 in favor of Maryland over the Badgers. It's 4th and 1 though, a big play for Wisconsin at Maryland's 20. Daniel takes a snap, it's a pitch out to Giacomelli. He goes to the right side and he has enough for the first down. Feeling that momentum, Wilson, jump around. But they say that actually at the last second, hold everything. Wait a moment. Maryland explodes on its bench, and this one is going the other way after second review.
Yeah, I want to see another look at it. I mean, for one, this is a terrible play call in my opinion. This is a halfback toss on 4th down. They're going to review it, as you just heard from the referee. It looked like from our view that he got it, but I didn't see exactly where he stepped out, as he was right in front of Luke Fickell and company on the sidelines. This is a big call though. If they don't get it, Maryland can try to take as much clock off at the game as they can here. But so close to a big stop here for the Terps.
Coast adds 3 points for Wisconsin. That's going to get to 20-3 at the start of the 4th quarter. That's a big play call. You mentioned right there for Grimes, head coach Luke Fickell to go with the shovel to the right side and even bigger stop potential for Maryland.
Yeah, and if Maryland takes this ball away, I know the offense has been dormant in the second half so far, Ryan, but now the name of the game really just, it turns into keep away really. And you're up by 3 scores. The more time you can take off the clock with the ball, then the better. But it really comes down to Maryland just having the ball for a certain amount of time. And of course, that might not happen pending the review here. So we get another look at it.
Runner's shin was down with the ball extended to the 19-yard line for first down.
So you don't need us to tell him. Camp Randall will do it for us. It's a push down for Wisconsin on the shovel to Giacomelli. Redshirt junior, Pennsylvania native, gets just enough. He did 2, he got 3. 1st and 10, Badgers at Maryland's 19-yard line. Wisconsin trailing by 17. 2 receivers to the right. Neal takes a snap, puts it in the gut of Darian, and he's swallowed up immediately. Sidney Stewart, Trey Reddick, completely get to Darian Dupree to go for a loss of yards. They'll call it a loss of 2. Now 2nd and 12 for Maryland's 21.
I mean, credit to Maryland in this game. The hallmark of Midwest Big Ten football is physicality, trenches, and Maryland has definitely brought the physicality. Linebackers in particular have flown to the ball. Trey Reddick has had a couple penalties in this game, makes a good play there. Loss of 2.
How about a play though again by Sidney Stewart? Here's your Big Ten leader in tackles for loss, now at 6.5. 2nd and 12, O'Neal in the shotgun, takes a snap. It's time in front of him, looks right, throws right, and it's caught, but tackled immediately on the play is going to be Wisconsin. They get it to the wide receiver and Darian Dupree. The running back lines up outside, tackled immediately by Zamir Mathis in coverage.
Great pursuit. Mathis read that one all the way. O'Neal had plenty of time. Terps only brought 3. They just dropped back into coverage. They might do the same here. It looks like they're going to go with more 4-man pressure here. We haven't seen a lot of blitzing from Ted Monachino. This might be a time to attack.
First-year defensive coordinator has kept his Terps at home. 3rd and 12 for Maryland's 21-yard line. Kahuna in motion from the left side. O'Neal takes a snap, surveys left, now looks right. Gets out of the pocket to the right side, tries to avoid back, Cam Rice in coverage, and he's got him for the sack. That's going to be a loss of close to 20 yards on the sack by the Florida State transfer, Cam Rice.
You can't do that if you're Wisconsin under any circumstances. And Cam Rice played this pretty well. He successfully read that O'Neal was working towards the near side, and he just chased him down. You can't spin back the other way. There are only a handful of QBs that do that, and they're all NFL greats. And now it's fourth 31, and you just cost your team 3 points.
Correct that. It was the other Seminole, D.D. Holmes, there as well, but the former West Virginia Mountaineer and Cam Rice is in on the sack. It's another punt for Atticus Bertrams. Before that, there's already a flag on the play. Let's listen down to Francisco Villar and his crew. So a delay of game for Wisconsin could have backed up the Badgers 5 more yards, but it's Mike Loxley, special teams coordinator Andre Powell. They want this touchback, so they're going to decline that. Still Bertrams, he's positioned at his own 45. Punt is off, and this one's going to be staying out of the end zone. End over end. Farouk lets take one bounce, and it's placed again by Jaden Ballard. He's been great on special teams. The wide receiver one hasn't had many opportunities to make catches offensively, but he places the ball down on the right hash at the 1 yard line. It's going to be 99 yards needed for Maryland, who's up 20-3 over Wisconsin in the 2025 Big Ten opener. We'll be right back from Camp Randall with 12 minutes, 25 seconds left to go in regulation. Minutes, 25 seconds left to go in the fourth quarter here from Camp Randall Stadium in Madison, Wisconsin. The Maryland Terrapins up 20-3 over the Wisconsin Badgers in this year's Big Ten opener. Ryan Martin alongside Daniel Stein on the call for this one. We're now joined by sideline reporter Adam Lippman. Adam, what do you got for us so far in this 17-point Maryland lead?
Well, Ryan, in the third quarter, I thought Wisconsin was actually building some momentum. Danny O'Neill looked refreshed by halftime, and he came into that third quarter with a mission. He looked like the leader that they've been trying to find all game since Billy Edwards left in the first quarter. And then just here in the fourth quarter, we've seen that sack for a loss. That's brutal for a Wisconsin offense that's trying to string anything together. They don't have much time now as they trail by 17.
No, they do not. Adam, thanks so much for that report. 20-3 in favor of Maryland. You take a look at your two quarterbacks. It's Danny O'Neill, the transfer from San Diego State for Wisconsin. As Adam mentioned, he had a really good third quarter, but overall in the game, 10 for 16, 77 yards, no touchdowns, to an interception thrown to Maryland's Jalen Husky. On the other side, it's true freshman quarterback Malik Washington, playing in his first ever conference game. So far, he's 13 for 29, 171 yards, a 9-yard touchdown throw to Shalik Knotts, and no interceptions. Here's Washington. He commands Maryland's offense from the far right end zone, just ahead of the Evans Transportation Tunnel on the far side. Ballard had placed it down to the 1 yard line following the Bertram's punt. So Maryland, with a 17-point lead, about 12 minutes to go in this game, has to go 99 yards. Washington sends Octavian Smith in motion on the right side. Takes the snap from the shotgun snap. Looks to the right side, avoids a sack, then throws, caught by DeJuan Williams at the 8-yard line. He scampers up past the 11 before taken down. That's the veteran move you want to see from Malik Washington. Not fazed by the pressure in his own end zone. He completes it to the running back, Williams.
I know it's kind of a almost mundane play, but that might be the best play that he's made all day.
Yeah.
He wills away from the sack, sidearm throw off body, finds Williams, and he takes the contact as well. Big game.
Now Washington under center. Shalik Knotts to the left for him. Octavian Smith alone to the right with Williams in the backfield. Under center. Washington takes the snap, handoff on the right side to Williams. Cuts it back to the 10, past the 15. Stutter steps to the 20, past the 25, and gets out of bounds near the 30-yard line. So The big gain Maryland was looking for, and it's set up after the completion from Washington to Williams in the own end zone for Maryland. Everyone talks about Malik's maturity, and maybe an even overused word, but it's the right one so far. Talk about the Glen Burnie native and true freshman signal caller.
I mean, I don't know how else you can describe it, just getting 25 yards on 2 plays when you're backed up against your own end zone. I mean, for a true freshman to do that, job is nowhere near finished here, but that's a hard part of the drive that they got out of the way.
Rush goes for 15 with DeJuan Williams. He's up to 11 carries for 50 yards to lead all rushers. These two, Washington's right, receiver each side. Washington takes a snap from the shotgun on 1st and 10, hands it back to Williams, and he scampers for about 2 or 3 yards before being caught in the teeth of Wisconsin's defensive line. Sets up a 2nd and 8 at Maryland's 28-yard line and his 23 Terp lead.
Now the name of the game here for the Terps, Ryan, just comes to taking as much time off the clock as you can. You don't really want to be passive with the ball. This is still just kind of an average drive here, but if you can keep this clock moving every single play, it's going to do that much for your defense if they get back on the field.
Maryland team that was quiet offensively in the 3rd quarter. Empty shotgun now for Washington, who takes a snap, throws it on the flat left side, caught by Octavian Smith. Tries to make a juke move, but instead is caught by Ricardo Holman after a short gain of about 3 yards. It is going to be a 3rd and 7 at Maryland's own 29-yard line. The Terps only had 2 yards of net offense in the 3rd quarter after bringing a 20-0 lead out of halftime. A couple of good defensive drives by Wisconsin. Now, Maryland, you're right, it's all about taking time off the clock.
And 3rd down has been tough. They came into this game with the worst 3rd down percentage, and it hasn't been much better, 3 for 12 so far today.
Smith in motion from right to left. Washington in the shotgun takes a snap. 4-step drop back, faces the pressure, throws it across the middle, caught by Jalil Farouk, and he dives ahead of the 1st down. It's a gain of 11 on 3rd and 7. It's a 1st down for Maryland at its own 38.
Well, Farouk had his fair share of drops in the 1st half, but able to get the squeeze on it there. DeJuan Williams, great play on this previous play. Open blitz coming from the A-gap between the right tackle, right guard. He picks it up. Washington gets the time, makes the completion.
Washington under center from his own 38-yard line. Receiver at tight end to the right, 2 receivers to the left. Washington under center, takes a snap, fakes the handoff to Williams. Steps back, launches it deep. He's looking for Shalik Knotts, and he's caught. 10-5 touchdown, Shalik Knotts and Maryland. It's a 62-yard throw and catch, the longest touchdown for Washington in his career so far, and it brings on the boos from Camp Randall Stadium and a 26-3 lead.
Well, with all the Badger fans heading for the exits, I think it's the Terps that are setting up camp at Randall. How about that play call from Pep Hamilton? He's called an aggressive game, but when he has chosen to take a shot, it has worked almost every time. The play action, again, kills this Badgers back line, and Knotts just breaks away wide open, and that, I mean, still 9 minutes to go, but that could be it.
The freshman lays it out. Here's the point after Rashawn O'Hare. The kick is up, and it is good for O'Hare. 27-3 Maryland. Malik Washington now up to 17 for 33 passing, 253 yards, and 2 touchdowns to Shalik Knotts. That's his 5th on the year, the most by any Maryland receiver. And he's got 1 in each of the first 4 games. It's been all Terps so far. After a quiet 3rd quarter, Maryland has rebounded to start this 4th, and they've done it to the tune of a 24-point lead. You mentioned it. Maryland has come into Madison and set up shop at Camp Randall. We'll be back for the final 9 minutes and 3 seconds in this 27-3 Maryland lead next on WNUC Sports. With 9 minutes left to go in the Big Ten opener, Maryland has had its way so far at Camp Randall Stadium in Madison, Wisconsin. The Terps, who are 0-4 all-time against Wisconsin, losing those 4 games by an average of over 3 touchdowns, up 27-3 over the Wisconsin Badgers here on WNUC Sports. Ryan Martin alongside Daniel Stein. Adam Lippman's got the hand on the sidelines for us today. After the 62-yard throw and catch from Malik Washington to Shalik Knotts, Maryland kicks it off from right to left. Philip Noyes has an end-over-end kick to the 10-yard line. It's caught by Tyrell Harry. Past the 20 up to the 25. The 20 to the 30-yard line. He's met by 3 Terps and stopped there. Well, Daniel, few expected this, if any, for Maryland to come in and go 27-3 over Wisconsin. We had asked so many hypothetical questions. After Maryland's start with wins against FAU, Northern Illinois, and Towson, do the Terps have what it takes to go into Big Ten play? The answer has been a resounding yes so far.
Yeah, that Malik Washington throw just cemented it, but this has been a poised Terp team. They've controlled all 3 aspects of the game, and they've made a statement here in Madison.
It was Washington's longest throw of his career so far, a 62-yard touchdown to Knotts. Here's Daniel Neal in the shotgun, takes a snap, throws it to the left side. It's caught for a short gain. It is Vinny Anthony II who catches it, brought down quickly by Jalen Husky. It goes as a gain of 4, 2nd and 6. O'Neal takes the snap, rolls out to his right, and he's got Jaden Ballard past the 40-yard line. A couple more feet before he tiptoes out of bounds at the 44-yard line. 2 passes in a row completed by Danny O'Neal, the transfer from San Diego State, who has had to play often this year after the starter Billy Edwards Jr., the former Maryland Terrapin, goes down in the first game of the season and only passed for 3 pass attempts to start this game. Ballard's catch good enough for a 1st and 10 from Wisconsin's 44-yard line. Ball on the right hash, 2 receivers to the left, 2 to the right for Danny O'Neal in the shotgun. Yakimelli to his left, he takes the snap. Has time, looks to his right, fires, and caught quickly again. This time it's Trek Kahuna. And Kekahuna advances up to the 50 to the 49-yard line onto Maryland's side of the field. Another completion for Danny O'Neal. This one goes for 7 yards.
And Ryan, if this lead holds, a 24-point advantage for the Terps, it would be the biggest conference win since our first month on campus against Indiana Parents Weekend 44-17. That was at home. That was before Signetti was there. It's a significant game. 2nd
and 3 from O'Neal in the shotgun. Fires long. He's got a man. It's caught by Vinny Anthony II. They'll say he stayed in bounds on the near side, right at the 26-yard line. It goes as a throw and catch of 23. You mentioned it's been a while since Maryland has had its way with Big Ten opponents. Remember, the Terps had 2 straight seasons of 4-5 Big Ten records. Then 2024 happens, and Maryland just goes 1-8 in conference play.
Yeah, and they really had to work for that. That was at home against USC. They only won by 1. A lot of really tough conference games, but this is, again, a statement. Still 7 minutes to go. They've cleared out Camp Randall.
Fans remember that field storm back in October against the Trojans. 1st and 10, O'Neal takes it from the shotgun. Pressure in his face, and he's brought down by a couple Terps. It starts with Sidney Stewart. He gets in on the play. He's joined by Zahir Mathis. Goes the big loss on the play. Sack sets up a 2nd down and 16 yards back to Maryland's 34-yard line. O'Neal takes the snap, looks deep, and it's incomplete in the direction again of Trek Kekahuna. Correct that. Instead of a loss of 6, it was a loss of 8. Now 3rd and 18 for Wisconsin following the sack and an incomplete pass over the middle.
There's so many questions about this Terps team, especially on the defensive line. There were so many guys that went to the NFL, Jordan Phillips, Tommy Akingbasote. I mean, the Terps have such a great heritage of pass rushers, but how are they going to fare this year? Well, so far against Wisconsin and a somewhat experienced offensive line, about 6 sacks.
Most of the game so far this season for Maryland. On 3rd and 18, O'Neal takes the snap. More pressure in his face this time. It's incomplete, barely dropped on an interception by Daniel Wingate. How about Sidney Stewart getting to the quarterback as well? Daniel O'Neal was hit as he threw. Could have been a pick 6 for Wingate. Would have been his 2nd of the year for the linebacker. Instead, it sets up a 4th and 18 from Maryland's 34-yard line. The Terps up 27-3.
Danny O'Neill is still down. Just kind of adding insult to injury here.
Yeah.
Adding injury to insult, really. But Sidney Stewart is becoming a rising force in this Maryland defense. He was a highly recruited freshman, has the genes for it, a cousin of Derek Queen, great Terps basketball player. But to go against a tackle like Riley Mahlman, has 4 years more experience than he does, a guy who started his last 28 games for Wisconsin, and to take care of business as much as he had, it's just really impressive what the Terps have on this defensive line.
It's making this quarterback, Danny O'Neill, battered and bruised. He got up on his own power, actually had a late jog off from the field into the red medical tent while his special teams unit gets ready for this 4th and 18. He looks like he'll be okay. If it wasn't O'Neill, who's already the 2nd string, 3rd string Hunter Simmons, the graduate from Marion, Illinois, would have his first snaps of the 2025 season. We'll see if it comes to that, and we'll see what Wisconsin does on this 4th and 18. Maryland having its way so far in Madison, up 27-3 over Wisconsin with 6 minutes, 23 seconds left to go in the 4th quarter. So in potentially desperation times for the Wisconsin Badgers here in Madison, Wisconsin, down 27-3 to the Maryland Terrapins, who are looking to build on a 3-0 start on a 4th and 18 from Maryland's 34-yard line. Here is the Wisconsin field goal unit. Nathaniel Vakos looking to what would be a 52-yarder. His longest of his career is 53. Trying to build into this 24-point deficit that Wisconsin faces. Here's the long field goal. Snap is off, hold is down, kick is up, end over end, and it is good. Nope, just to the right side, it is not good. At the distance on a 52-yard field goal, but kind of has been the day so far for Wisconsin. It's wide left, and Maryland will take possession on its 34-yard line with 6.5 to go.
Yeah, would have been right up against his career long of 53. And, you know, our view is not exactly good for field goals. They're kicking it the same direction that the field goes, and we're standing kind of perpendicular to it. So it can be hard to see. But it goes back to, you know, you want to control all 3 parts of the game, offense, defense, special teams. I think from a special teams perspective, if you're Andre Powell, you have to feel really good about what your unit has done. The missed field goal, not necessarily anything when you didn't get a hand on it. They did block a field goal. They did block a punt.
Maryland's fourth downs have been special today. First snap is an end around to Jaleel Farouk. Pass line of scrimmage and more. Near the 40, scampers up to the 45 on the far sideline near Maryland's bench. Terps trying to get some wide receivers involved in the run game as well. This one will set up a first down. It's a gain of 12 for Jalil Farouk. A rare first down run by the Terps. So that clock just keeps moving down for Maryland. And what's no longer a crowded Camp Randall Stadium, they've cleared out after that jump around tradition in the fourth quarter. Washington under center from his own 46, takes a snap, handoff left side to Williams, puts the shoulder down and bounces off a few Badgers before getting onto Wisconsin's side of the field. It'll set up a second and short, 2nd and 5 to be exact, with 5.5 to go.
Yeah, I really like what I've seen out of DeJuan Williams today. You know, he's sitting at right around that 4-yard average per carry, which is where you want to be, and the Terps have been kind of underwater in that this season. But his ability to just get yards after contact, showing good balance as well, those are two really important traits in what you look for in a running back. And as talented as this running back room is, Ryan, it is on the younger side. Nolan Ray is the oldest, and he's a redshirt sophomore.
2nd and 4. Washington takes a snap from the shotgun, another handoff to Williams. This time he's cut quickly by Christian Allegro and this Wisconsin back line. They'll set up a 3rd and short from Wisconsin's side of the field, make it 3rd and 3 from the Badgers' 47. Maryland up 27-3 and willing to let that clock just keep rolling down. It's now under 4.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. One of the biggest things I've looked at so far, again, is the running back carry disparity. Williams up to 14 carries for 59 yards, just 4 carries for 11 yards with Nolan Ray.
Yeah, Ray just hasn't really seen the ball that much, and DeJuan Williams, I mean, you know, you thought Ray was going to be the feature back, but Williams has kind of changed that conversation.
Washington back in the shotgun, takes the snap and fakes the handoff. He'll keep it himself. Does not surprise the Wisconsin defense on the read option. Instead, tackle made down quickly by the Badgers. Getting into the backfield was Deani Hill, the transfer from Miami. Makes it 4th and 6 from the 50-yard line. Here's Bryce McPherson and the Maryland punt unit.
I mean, it's hard to believe that Bryce McPherson's going to punt 8 times in this game, and yet the Terps are winning this one handily. But it's just kind of been what this game has led. You haven't really seen, with the exception of that Shaliknot's touchdown very at the end, a long, sustained drive from Maryland, but they just haven't needed it today.
Punt's off for McPherson. End over end. It'll take one bounce into the end zone. This one won't even touch any of the green turf before the big Wisconsin red end zone. It's another touchback for McPherson. 3 minutes, 12 seconds left to go in this game. It's been all Maryland so far in the Big Ten opener. Terps up 27-3. We'll see what the Wisconsin offense has in its final time in this game, the final couple possessions, as the Badgers look to make this one a little bit more competitive. So 1st and 10 at Wisconsin's 20-yard line following the touchback. Here's Daniel O'Neill. 3 receivers to the left. He takes the snap. Looks left as he drops back. Fires there, and it's caught on the left side near the 25-yard line. Catch is made by Trech Kekahuna again. He's been the featured wide receiver.
It's a new QB in the game here for the Badgers.
Yeah, it was. You mentioned it could have been Hunter Simmons, and it is. Here's the graduate. That's his first completed pass of the season. So Daniel O'Neill's day is done following the injury and this 24-point deficit. Instead, it's the Marion, Illinois native and Simmons. Second play in the shotgun. He takes the snap, looks for his running back on the left side. It's caught by Darian. And Dupree makes one Terp miss, goes down to the 35-yard line. There he gets a new set of downs. Badgers move quickly, now make Simmons 2 for his first 2. Now 1st and 10, takes a snap in the shotgun again, fires right down the middle. This time it's Lance Mason. He catches it, puts the shoulder down near the 50-yard line. Another stick mover for Wisconsin. It goes down to the 49-yard line. No huddle offense for the Badgers. And before it can be Simmons who works on his 3-for-3 line, you hear on the field that's the 2-minute warning in the fourth quarter. So new quarterback in, a move that Wisconsin could have made a little bit earlier with how he's looking on that first drive.
Yeah, I mean, Simmons is another guy who has a lot of experience. This is a pretty experienced quarterback room for the Badgers. But, you know, at this point, it's hard to read a lot into these kind of last-minute drives here. But this is a Wisconsin program that's going to be kind of looking for a new direction here as Simmons is in the game. We don't really know what the status is with O'Neal. I mean, he's a tough kid, so the fact that he got up and, you know, walked off is encouraging, of course, but it's kind of like Billy Edwards. Billy was always kind of banged up last season for the Terps, and ultimately his injuries got the worst of him, and he wasn't able to play towards the end of the season. So you just don't really know here if you're Wisconsin what to do.
Well, in the final moments of this Big Ten opener, we'll tell you a little bit more about who Hunter Simmons is for this Wisconsin offense. It's a Wisconsin team that's trailing Maryland. The Terps are taking over here in Madison, up 27-3 with 2 minutes left at Camp Randall Stadium. Final 2 minutes to go here from Camp Randall Stadium in Madison, Wisconsin. The Terps have straight up took over this Big Ten opener, up 27-3 over the Badgers. Maryland is 2 minutes away from starting its season 4-0. Big difference in that win against Wisconsin, though, versus the 3 wins previously against FAU, Northern Illinois, and Towson. And it's a third-string quarterback into the game for Wisconsin because of the 24-point deficit. Also, a couple injuries to former Terp starter and Billy Edwards, and backup Daniel O'Neal, who got out of this game with an injury. He went 14 for 22 with 120 yards. So enter the senior and Southern Illinois transfer in Hunter Simmons. 3 receivers to the left. One alone to the right for Simmons. He takes the snap, drops back in the shotgun. He pushes in his face, throws right across the middle where it's caught by Lance Mason. Tackle made on the play. Jaden Ships, the defensive back, and true freshman from Archbishop Spalding and Severn, Maryland. Makes the tackle. A couple reserves in this game. Daniel, these are big snaps for some of the younger guys on Maryland's defense to get Big Ten experience.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about just how there's an influx of youth in this Maryland team. Mike Loxley talked pretty bluntly about how he had to make decisions regarding NIL and who to pay and who not to pay. And because of that, there was a whole lot of people that left Maryland football and thus a lot of people who came in. Jaden Ships, one of them, a true freshman, came over with Malik Washington from Spalding. And so, as he said, these are big reps here at the end of it.
Jaden Ships, Neo Avery, Kevin Humes all in. 2nd and 2. Simmons takes the snap, looks deep, and it is incomplete on the far side. Off the hands of Messiah Delhomme. It looked like for a moment, too, that Jaden Ballard could have had a hand to it. That one would have been a completion of 35-plus yards. Instead goes as an incomplete pass and sets up 3rd and 2.
And Ballard shaken up as well. He'll check out of this one here with 91 seconds left. But Delhomme has really impressed, I think, a lot of fans.